Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says, "Oh."
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist: Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, kids, we made it. Let's do it live on a Friday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. 10 o'clock, we'll get you set for the Final Four. Cooper Flagg attempting to enter some very, very elevated categories if he can pull this off along with his Dukies this weekend. 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. Hard to believe, but the first time since 2008 that's been the case. We'll get you set for that at 10 o'clock. Check in on where our brackets ended up as well, both our personal ones and also the one we did for the show before this all started. Tim May will join at 10:30 as is customary. What we learned this week coming up at 11 o'clock, and we will have a little bit of Doug Lamerise. We'll get smarter coming up at 11:30. Also a nice little day yesterday for the basketball Bucks. They pulled up what appears to be a nice one in the portal. So today is my 16th wedding anniversary. The blonde and I made it. We did it 16. We've done 16 years now. 3 lovely children. Most of the time, I think we're having a successful marriage and that we've got this far. So that feels like a win. A lot of times people say, well, what, especially young folks, when you have interns or whatever, what are the keys? Well, you got it. It sounds cliche, but you better marry your buddy. You better be pals. Because what you're signing up for is a full day of obstacles and things you could never have imagined and all of those things. So you have to start with marrying your buddy. And I did. The blonde is my best friend, has been for a very, very long time. And so I think that's the central part of it. And then from there, you build off of it. One of my little rules is there are certain things, there's a threshold of things that I do that annoy her that she lets go, and vice versa. A certain level of things that she does that annoy me and I let go, and you just have to, because you can't fight about everything. So you just have to decide what fights are the ones that matter. And they better damn well matter if you're going to fight, which we don't do very, very often. Today, I have one of the other things I think is you have to decide how much of the truth you want to tell. And this morning, I had an example of this, and the timeliness of this happening on our anniversary only adds to it. So my routine every morning is I take NBC to school. His school starts, he has to be there by 7:45. And then when I get back, I walk Buddy Garrity. We do the morning walk, and he does his business. So that's what we do every morning. At the end of that walk, I take him off the leash, and he goes what I call his patrols. So it's about 3 acres, and he kind of cruises around and chases squirrels off. If there's mice in the mix, he'll try and sniff them down. An occasional bunny, birds. He's a golden retriever. I mean, I don't know what the intellect is on him. He potty trained relatively quickly, but at the same time, I don't know that he has ever understood the fact that he's never actually going to catch a bird. So he runs around for, 10 minutes. I play fetch. We screw around, and that's the way that it goes. And then he goes in and he gets his little greenies for his teeth, and that's your morning routine. So this morning, during that endeavor, it's a little wet, ground's a little wet, and he went on the chase. And squirrels escaped, as is customary and normal. A bunny did not. I've never seen this in my life. I've had dogs my whole life, and Buddy's 2.5, and I don't know if the rabbit slippery footing, I don't know what happened, but he got him. Now, if you have a dog, of my guess, and you do, Reese, he thought it was a toy. Yeah. I mean, it's not like he wasn't ravenous. He didn't want to eat it. he was kind of like, look what I did, Dad. Look at my new toy. Kind of what he did, right? So now I'm put with the conundrum here. Do I tell her, and don't worry, she doesn't listen. She still thinks I only do a 2-hour show. Do I tell her what has transpired this morning? Or do I just keep this little secret to myself? Now, through 16 years of marriage, this goes back to how much of the real truth do you have to tell? I'm opting for option 2. And the reason that I'm opting for option 2 is if she knew the real truth on this, I think it's very likely that she would categorize Buddy Garrity, the 2.5-year-old golden retriever, in the same category as the lions that Val Kilmer was trying to track down in The Ghosts of Darkness. Blood in the water is, I think, how she would categorize him. Now, I don't need that. I don't think he's ever going to catch another one. I don't know how the hell he caught this one. I didn't see the actual act. I didn't see how he did it. I don't know how he did it. It was around the corner. He just presented it to me as the grand prize of the day. I think it's a one-off. I don't think he's going to become some bloodthirsty golden retriever who's going to hunt and hunt and hunt. That's my hunch at this point. And through 16 years of mostly successful marriage, I feel fairly confident that I'm making the right decision here to keep this little secret between me and Mr. Garrity.
Was it a fat bunny?
No, dude. It was...
Really? Because in Grandview, there are some thick rabbits that don't have much in the way of predators. So yeah. Odie, as he'll be 6 in May, could never, as a puppy, catch them. And he would try. And he would treat them as toys. So he just gives up on rabbits, squirrels, birds, like anything around him. It doesn't faze him.
When did that happen, though, when he started giving up on it?
So he was 3.
Okay, so we're right there.
You're almost you're almost to the finish line.
Yeah.
Where's the carcass?
Listen, I grew up on the Ponderosa. I know how to dispose of a carcass in a manner in which it'll never be found.
Okay, option 2. Don't say anything to anybody ever.
I don't think anybody needs to know about this. I don't think the kids need to know about this. I don't think she needs to know about this. When I say I don't think anyone needs to know about it, I understand I just told it to our audience, so I guess a great many people are going to know about it. But none of you are going to talk to her. Her friends don't listen. I don't think it's ever going to get back to her.
Right. The question, if you were honest with her, what were you doing? Why did you let the dog get the rabbit?
Well, of course, that's the first part is what were you doing? Why did you let him do that?
Why was he off the leash? What are you doing?
You can never take him off the leash again. You can't put him out in the electric fence. You can't let him roam anymore. He's a killer. I'm not kidding you. Like all of those things.
Murder dog.
Right. Murder dog. He's a golden retriever. Like, what's he going to do?
I feel like this is Buddy Garrity's story to tell, not yours, Bo. So
I agree.
If he wants him to know, he'll let him know. But
jeez, what a morning. I've never seen it. I mean, I'm trying to think even back as a kid growing up if any of our dogs ever tracked anything down. We always had 2 dogs. We always had a cow dog for my dad, so like a border collie or a blue heeler or something like that. We always had one of those who would handle the cows with my dad and all that stuff. And then we always had it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense considering where I grew up, but we always had a pit bull mix, always. We had one of them as soon as one would, and they were always black and white pit bull mix. Those were always the guys that we had. And they were usually mixed with, they were just rescue dogs, obviously, but we would get them. It seemed like they were always mixed with like Labradors. So they would always have a little bit of bird dog in them. And I do remember Rambo, my favorite dog of all time, even far superior to Buddy Garrity. I do remember him as a kid. Like every once in a while, he'd grab a duck, like or he'd snake a pheasant or something like that. Like every once in a while, he'd get one of those. But on the Ponderosa, like it's like they would just let him go eat it. Like they would just go into the field and go, "That's dinner." Like it's kind of the way he handled it. So I don't think that's going to happen here. It's my hunch that this was a one-off. I don't think he'll catch another one. Furthermore, now the yard knows because of this, there's blood in the water. I think the yard's going to be clear for a while. They all witnessed.
Bo, my parents have had Great Danes since I was 13 years old.
God, that's great.
And they had one get a possum once. Mm-hmm. And then my grandparents used to raise English bulldogs. And they had to one time corner a groundhog, and it was not a pretty scene.
No.
Those are good boys, though. Like, those are good dogs because you do that's their job, you know? People talk a lot about having like a dog, like needing to find a dog's purpose. And I look to Odie and I go, well, he's just eating and farting.
That's the job, man. That's the job. Hunter on social, our Golden's about to be 6 and Stills goes after a bunny any chance he gets. It's what they do. Yeah, I think this is it. So I think this little secret will stay between me, you guys, the audience, and we'll leave it at that. Especially on the 16th wedding anniversary, the blonde does not need any sort of aggravation more than trying to reschedule lacrosse amidst the rain over the next weekend. Listen, let's do some truth telling. This did not go well last night at Nationwide.
They were the bunny.
Well said. They were the bunny last night, and they were more than just a plaything for the Avs. We will get into all of that and start to project out in terms of there's a lot of hockey to go, but you can't have too many of these going forward in what is going to be a monster weekend for the Jackets. We're off and running on a Friday edition, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman here for Germain Honda of Dublin. So what's the difference? There are other Honda dealers around. Well, Rich Newsom and his team want to earn your trust. They don't expect it, and they earn it by giving you a great price, and then they back it up after the sale with same-day service, no appointment necessary, a great variety of brand new Hondas, and hundreds of pre-owned certified Hondas to choose from, all at the same location. Identify yours at GermainHondaofDublin.com. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get 5 bags of red, black, or brown mulch for just $10.95 now through April 5th. Save $50 on home delivery too. Visit OhioMulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
Take action with Logan Services. Get up to $900 off a Train furnace and up to $1,500 off a Train air conditioner. Plus free duct cleaning on qualifying systems. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule your free estimate now. Logan Services.
The Jackets are fighting for a playoff spot, and they need your help. Send your supportive love waves through the radio by listening to Jackets coverage here on The Fan. If they lose, it's your fault. No pressure. The Fan.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
We plant trees because people need trees, and when planted in the right place, they have great impact. Trees help slow climate change, filter our air and water, foster biodiversity, and strengthen our communities. They create the kind of transformational change the world needs now. April is a month filled with opportunities to care for and plant trees. For planting resources, contact an Ohio ISA certified arborist who can help you learn how to take the best care of your trees. Visit trees4ohio.org. That's trees4ohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're watching more showers move out this morning, but they'll be back by this afternoon and evening. Flooding concerns remain possible throughout the day, so use caution on roads and avoid areas that typically collect water. Temperatures will be in the 50s today, making their way back to the 70s tomorrow. Showers and storms again possible on Saturday. Flooding concerns will continue through early Sunday, so stay weather aware. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Here's a quick 10-second reminder that the Buckeyes have won the Natty. Also, we air all the games, and we always will. Thank you. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
So the hope last night with the Avs coming into town is that their travel experiences in Chicago would leave them irritated, disinterested, pissed off. If things started to go maybe not their way, they'd say, all right, fine. You got 6 hours of sleep. We flew in today. Fine. Take your little 2 points and we'll move along. That did not happen. There was plenty of chance for that to happen as the Jackets actually held a lead in this one. They scored first and held a lead in this thing throughout. But the reality is that is a Stanley Cup champion operation. And what they did with all of their travel woes and kind of everything that came with it was bow up. They bowed up and they said, well, we're actually, since we've done all of this, we might as well just finish it. And they did in pretty emphatic fashion. And I think John Luke had a really good comment in between the second and third period intermission where he said the Jackets are trying to play on the perimeter instead of going directly at this team. And they allowed for it to be pretty easy through the neutral zone. And what ended up happening was a 7-3 beatdown on a team that's quite honestly a Stanley Cup contender. The Avs they've done it recently. They could absolutely do it again. They are completely loaded, best defenseman in all of the game. And he looked at last night. So all of those things checked out. I think what we were hoping for is that you would get kind of a Avs team that would push the chips in and that's not what happened. They bowed up in a big way when the Jackets took the lead in the second, and it ends up 7-3, and you've got some stuff on the back end that's a problem. You've got your first goalie pull. Is it the first one that we've had, Bake? You'd know better than me. How many times has that happened this year?
It's the first time it's happened for the Jackets all year. They were the last team in the NHL that had not pulled a goaltender until last night.
Were you there?
I was not. I did not go over last night. It sure seemed, though, watching the game last night, Bo, that this was a night where the Jackets needed a save, and they didn't get the save.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a chance at momentum in the second, and then, their quality's their quality. So if you don't, you need a little bit of luck too. And kind of that led to everything that happened in this one. Here's Dean Evison on when things started to fall apart last night.
Probably their third goal is when we kind of felt it. But again, we still did a lot of things that we do. We just can't, again, we've talked about this before, that we just can't shoot ourselves in key situations where the game's still sitting there and we're still in a spot and we do something kind of uncharacteristic and systematically that we don't do, and it ends up in our net or flips the momentum of the hockey game, and we think that third goal probably did it.
I mean, it has been now they've gotten some results amidst this. The 8-4 win against the Preds earlier this week, the 7-6 win against the Canucks here a week or so back. So they've found a way to score to dig themselves out of it. But you do have what is now a pretty deficient back end goalie situation, and Dean weighed in on that too in terms of what's happening in that defensive zone and how the results are just not there for them right now.
I'm very concerned that we're not dialing in to keep it out of our net. So, yeah, we're very concerned about that. It's our job as coaches to systematically dial it back in and get them to play the right way. At this point in the year, it seems like you shouldn't have to do that. But, yeah, there's definitely some mistakes in this hockey game, and we talked about them in the last hockey game, that the pucks shouldn't have went in the net, and or we shouldn't have gave them that opportunity to have those scoring chances because of systematically that we did. And you think at this point in the year that, you'd be pretty dialed in, but there's some things that we think maybe is a contributing factor to that. So we'll evaluate it and let this one go.
This is a conversation for Jody, really. But, can you dial that in with 2 weeks to go?
I'm going to find out. Because at this point, when they pull Elvis, I go, okay, well, but he's got to start tomorrow night in Toronto.
Yeah.
You got to work this out somehow. You heard it from Dean. When Boone puts him up 3-2, you feel pretty good, and then very quickly you don't. Because it felt like every couple of minutes, the Avalanche had another opportunity and made the most of that opportunity. And this kind of goes back for me to that what was it, 4-game losing streak of where you're looking up at teams like this, who, despite travel delays and a shootout win the night before, can get it together later in a game and bury you. And that's the Avalanche. They clinched a playoff spot last night, but it goes back to games against the Lightning and the Panthers. The Capitals, you've got twice coming up in these last 8 games. Those are the standards you're trying to play at, and it's just not enough where you are as a team right now.
5 of the next 8 are against playoff teams, right? To wrap it up here. And the Islanders, the last game, are a team that's fighting. Even though they've dropped off a little bit, they're fighting for their playoff lives. It's interesting. We talk about the travel delay, and listening to the guys on the broadcast last night, they said it actually sounded like a plus for Colorado because they they saw the weather was going to be bad, and they decided they weren't going to fly while they were still at the arena. So they just went straight to the hotel. So they actually got in bed at an earlier time, and then they woke up. They didn't fly out of Chicago until 11 a.m. Eastern, so 10 a.m. Chicago time. So they said it actually was a better sleep situation, at least for Colorado, doing things the way they did because they were proactive on it instead of going to the airport, getting delayed, then going back and finding a hotel. They made the decision earlier. So they said it was actually everything worked out in Colorado's favor.
That's pretty interesting because, Jody, we had it differently yesterday when we did Shelley Time, remember?
Mm-hmm.
The information we had at that point was that they loaded the bus, went to the airport, and then had to kind of scramble.
Which was actually not the case.
That was not the case. And that was just the information we had at the time. But, yeah, I do wonder, it makes you think, on these close flights, you think about Columbus, Detroit, Columbus, Nashville, Columbus, Chicago, or conversely, when you're in those type of situations and you're the Blue Jackets, would it make more sense to, rather than, because what they do is that you play and then you go on the plane. Would it make more sense to go back to the hotel, sleep, and then get on the plane the next day? Maybe a blueprint for that. Obviously, you couldn't do it on any sort of long trip, but on a short trip, you probably could. I go back to something you said, Bake, coming out of the this was after the outdoor game, and they went through kind of that struggle that they had immediately after that. Now, some of that was the teams they played. I mean, you're playing Florida and Tampa, and you're playing those type of teams, but it kind of ballooned into what inevitably became a 6-game losing streak, and kind of ended with that 6-3 loss at Pittsburgh a couple of weeks back. And what you said was it was a reminder to you that you're not there yet. That you're not there yet. Now, you can not be there yet and still make the postseason. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to not be there yet, but still make the postseason. What you saw last night was a professional hockey team. and a Stanley Cup contender, and one that's won it with veterans and stars everywhere, all over the ice. And you hope that 5 years from now, that's who the Columbus Blue Jackets are. We've never had that. It feels like I asked you guys a question yesterday. Which team, I gave you Reds, Guards, Jackets, which team will win a championship first? Reese went Guards. I think you went Jackets, Bake. Mm-hmm. Guards would be the safest bet because they've had a lot of bites at the apple in the postseason. But what you can say is you actually have to really think about that answer because of the core players who are here and what you believe Kirill Marchenko will continue to be, what you believe Adam Fantilli will blossom into, what you think Kent Johnson will be, what you know Zach Werenski already is. By the way, Zach played a lot of hockey, high-leveraged hockey. You got to remember what he's doing for Team USA. Like, he has played a ton of high-leveraged hockey. And I think it's been, Jody talked about this yesterday with his pick to click, like it's been a little bit of, you can feel that his sea legs are maybe not under him the way that they used to be. So I think this was kind of a reminder of this is what you want to get to, is this type of level. So they've got a monster trip this weekend, heading to Canada. Toronto first. That game will take place on Saturday, and then they will have the game against Ottawa to follow on Sunday. So a back-to-back this weekend in Canada, then Ottawa is here on Tuesday. In terms of where they stand in the standings, it's always important to pay attention to this. Remember, we've always had this games-in-hand situation in our favor. That is starting to slip away with every single one of these where you walk away without points, and you look at these with 8 games to play, and you say, all right, you got 8 games to play. You got a game in hand on Montreal and New York, but now Montreal is 4 points clear of you despite that game in hand. The Rangers are 2 points clear of you, but you have that game in hand. So this is going to be so tight, so dicey. Obviously, the Canadians are playing some really good hockey right now. Rangers have won a couple in a row as well. So this weekend in Canada, I know we have it on the poll question, how many points are they going to get? What's the minimum? You cannot get out of there with less than 2. No chance. I mean, I think if you go out of there pointless, you're cooked. And it feels like you need, 3 would be satisfactory. I don't think you're getting 4.
You've got 8 games left. You probably need 12 points. So
what's that get you to? That gets you to 86? No, that gets you 89.
That gets you to 89, which is what we heard a couple weeks ago. The pace that the Canadians were on is 89, and it's usually been at least 90 here recently. So out of these next 8, you need a minimum of 12. It'll be interesting to see if we see maybe a JVR or a Chinnikov back in the lineup here in the next game.
Got to get a spark somewhere. Buckeye football team going to have a little bit of a true serum tomorrow, the annual Student Appreciation Day. We're going to see some real football. What do we need to see? What do we expect to see as Buckeye camp is getting a little chippy? You can't blame them. They've been hitting each other consecutively for a lot of weeks now. I'll get you set for that in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Empower. Tim collects bobbleheads. A lot of bobbleheads. Baseball bobbleheads, race car bobbleheads, little chihuahua bobbleheads. He's got an entire room strictly for bobbleheads. Does he need them? No. Is his wife mad about it? A little. But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at money, so he can be a little bad. Ooh, horse bobblehead. Classy, Tim. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Guys, it's college hoops superfan Timmy Hall. The finals are here, and the only thing for sure is this. It's the last time to bet on college basketball this season. It's been an amazing ride to get here, so get in on all the action, expected and unexpected, with DraftKings Sportsbook. Live betting, exclusive content, promos, and parlays. DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. Ready to make the first bet? Check out the matchups, pick a team to win. It's that simple. First time, here's something special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Friday edition of the program. A week from tomorrow is the Ohio State spring game. Tomorrow is Student Appreciation Day at the Woody Hayes. That starts at 10:45. It is practice number 11. To give you an idea of what the next week will hold for the Buckeyes, on April 7th, that is Monday, Coach Day's press conference. We will carry that live, provided it stays in that 11 o'clock window. Brian Hartline, Matt Patricia. So this will be the first time that all of 3 of those guys have all talked on the same day since the beginning of camp. Second time, right? What was that, Reese?
Yeah, no, it was the second time. They also had an 11 o'clocker.
The first time, right?
Yeah, 11 o'clocker scheduled that became a 12 o'clocker.
Yeah, that was. I think that might have been the first availability of the spring. Was when all 3 of them talked. Was that? I think that was the first Monday after the very first practice. All 3 of them talked. So they'll all talk again to close out the final week. They will have one more practice on Tuesday, and we'll have the post-practice interviews. That will happen then. Then on Saturday, of course, the spring game. And then just for the rest of the month, April 14th, they head to D.C., meet the president, go to the White House, and then on Wednesday, the spring transfer portal opens. That will be something we need to pay a decent amount of attention to in terms of, and you'll figure out, by the way, you're going to get some truth serum on what Ryan Day thinks of his roster, on how aggressive they are in that spring portal, and pay very close attention to the positions that they pursue, if they pursue any. Do they continue to try to add to that offensive line? How do they? What's the real truth on how they feel about that running back room? Are there any other things, perhaps in the interior and the defensive line, where they need to add some numbers and some playmakers there? So those are some things to watch for in that spring transfer portal window. Historically, and we're new to this, the portal that matters most is the one in December. That's when the lion's share of the movement takes place. And I think we thought that this spring one would have a bigger impact than it has, but it's actually been, to this point, it's been pretty minor in terms of the shifts around the country in the spring window. They are having the spring game. They've been pretty adamant about that as the week started to close. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Not a spring showcase, a spring game. And quite honestly, they need it. You've got 2 quarterbacks who are vying for this job, one who played 3/4 of a game against Missouri, which I don't even know if you can call that. It was just prepared malfeasance. Is what that was.
It wasn't a serious operation. No. Like, there was nothing serious about what Ohio State was trying to do offensively against a Missouri team that it felt like that was a playoff game for them.
I don't know how many people even remember that game.
I'd like to forget.
It's our job, and I couldn't tell you how many series Devin Brown quarterbacked. I do not recall. It was such a meaningless It's you don't ever want to be back in that situation, because that game was just nonsense in every way. So I have very little recollection of who shined in that game, or it was kind of an example of just how far this sport has gone. And that was the Cotton Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, back-to-back years Ohio State's made the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah,
how about that?
It was the Cotton Bowl. Like, it wasn't like you weren't in El Paso. I mean, it's still a major bowl, and nobody cared.
I'm pretty sure Devin Brown, didn't he get hurt on the first series and played one more, and that was it?
It was early when he hurt his ankle again.
If I remember correctly, he got 2 series, and then it was Lincoln from there on out.
Now I want to play the game. All right, so I pulled up. All right,
because it was a score. The defense. It was 3 points, and then Missouri scored late.
At half. We were up 3-0 at half. I couldn't have told without looking this up. Would you guys know the score without looking it up?
10-3.
I think it was either 12 or 13-3.
Pretty good job. Pretty good job out of both of you guys. A-, B+ efforts out of you. It was 14-3. Would you have had that we actually led 3-0 at half in the game? It was 3-0 at half.
I would not have remembered that.
I thought they led 3-0.
Would you have had that Emeka Egbuka attempted a pass in the game? Do you recall that? I recall none of that.
Now that you say that, I do kind of remember that.
So Devin Brown went 4 of 6, so he attempted 6 passes in the game. Keen Holtz went 6 of 17 for 86 yards. Trey went 19 for 72, so they just relied on that. It's pretty crazy. Ohio State only had 57 offensive plays, which is only 4 more plays than Missouri had rushes. Missouri ran it 53 times in the game. Let's see, almost damn near total offense leader was almost Xavier Johnson. Emeka was 6 for 63, Xavier Johnson 2 for 31. Yeah, you just don't. Yeah, Lincoln had a fumble in the game. It's just one of those ones that's erased from memory. It truly is.
The thing I remember the most from that game is Enoch Vamahi looking like a turnstile at right guard. I mean, it was just, I'm not even checking your tickets. Just come right in.
What a crazy finish. You know, guys, we would have been in that spot if not for a 12-team playoff this year. We would have ran that experience right back. If this was the 4-team playoff era, you would have ran that right back. And you'd have been playing in some absurd bowl game in front of half a crowd with no interest. And instead, a 12-team playoff happens and you get a national championship. But this brings us back to Keen Holtz and saying some of the offensive line. They need reps. Lots of them. We went over this yesterday in terms of the total amount of passes thrown by those two guys in their Buckeye careers. Ryan Day from earlier this week on the importance of the spring game and what he needs to get out of it.
The spring game itself, I think it's important to get some of our young players out there, and we will celebrate some of the players from last season. So a celebration of those guys in the past, but also a sneak peek into the next year, into the future. And I think it's going to be a great day of football, some cool ceremonies, at halftime and things like that. So the spring game will be a great environment. I think it'll be awesome to have great crowd there for our guys to feel what game day is going to be like in that first one against Texas.
All right. I need one of the MIT kids to look up what the extended forecast is for next Saturday. In the meantime, I'll say this. Everything he says is 100% true. This will be a celebration of the 2024 national championship. That's a fact. It's going to be cool. They'll do it right. There's nothing that would preclude any of the stars from last year's team from being there. My hunch is most of them will be. So they will be honored in a very cool way. It is also your first chance to see brand new signal callers as the dudes. And what does that look like? I don't need to see 2 and 4 do anything, honestly.
But you want to, right? At least 4?
I don't want to see him do anything.
Maybe
a straight line.
A long pass down the field. I think there's a phrase for it.
One straight line.
Yeah.
That's it.
I will say
I don't need
this.
to see Caleb do anything. Nothing.
See, and I disagree just for the fact that I need some of these first-time guys that we're talking about, I need them to get meaningful reps with the best and against the best.
I'm hoping that's it. I don't need anybody. I need bubble wrap, Bake. Bubble wrap for 2 and 4.
I'd like to see at least 1 or 2.
All right, this is what I'd say to Caleb Townsend. You can run around, but don't put your hat on anything. You want to break up a pass? Fine. Cool.
That's fair.
No hats. Hats stay clean. Like, put him in a black jersey. Would you be open? We should put that on the poll. Should Ohio State put 2 and 4 in a black jersey for the spring game? Like, would that's what I think you need to do. I just need them to run straight lines and no one hurt them. Just kind of run around and make something happen. But quite honestly, they need those 2 young quarterbacks. And I think there is real value in young guys. And it seems like it's been really chippy, really competitive this week at practice. We've seen it in some of the videos they put out, just talking to folks who have been there. It's been pretty chippy. So I think you need to see those 2 quarterbacks with semi-live bullets in that scenario and what they look like. I think I think Ryan Day thinks it's critical, which is why he's calling it a game. What's the weather? Do you got the weather?
So I have got 57 degrees, cloudy, but not a lot of wind, 4 miles per hour. So should be a decent day. There's no chance of rain here at all. I see no rain.
Right now it's none. Well, then that's a win. If you're approaching 60, no rain, no excuses. That should be the only thing that would keep a big crowd away, I would think, would be the rain. And right now it looks like it's going to be pretty good. So if that's the case, you're in a pretty good spot. But I think Ryan's actions this week speak to the importance of it, what he needs to see out of it. Because, and he alluded to that in that answer. I'm going to ask him about it next Thursday when he joins us at 11:30. How different is this spring, not only coming out of a 12-team playoff, guys, but also Texas game 1? I mean, that has to change things. And I'm sure, his approach would be entirely differently if it was Will Howard or CJ in year 2 or Justin in year 2. This ain't that. These are really young, really inexperienced guys in the biggest moment possible. So I think all of the reps they can get are critical. And the other thing it goes back to is I think it's going to be really critical that when you get to fall camp, he gets that starter named right away, as quickly as he can. As quickly as that guy wins that room, he's got to name it, because you need a lot of live bullets for those guys heading into that Texas game where you open the season. By the way, I saw our buddy Ari Wasserman ranked it as the second biggest non-conference game of the season. Ari knows how to drive a headline.
What was first?
LSU Clemson. Come on, man.
Good job out of him, though.
Well, it's a control.
You are clicking.
Yeah, you got to get the trolls on that. Ari's a pretty smart dude. He knows what he's doing. LSU and Clemson play quite a bit. That'll be. We haven't seen anything on a kick time on that. Did I miss that when I was gone?
Well, the Texas on 3 arm said that Fox picked it and is going to put it at Big Noon.
What a fail. So
that's the reporting that's been done, but nothing official.
I knew Fox would pick it. So did Fox get that and the Michigan game?
I would be shocked if they got both, unless they had the first 2 picks, but nothing official on that.
That's an abject failure if that's not a night game.
Didn't someone say Fox got the first 3 picks or something?
How would they get that, though?
Well, I know they pay the most, but they don't get the first 3 because they would have taken Oregon last year.
Okay.
So last year I could see them getting the first 2, and last year they took Michigan and Penn State. I don't know why you wouldn't pick Oregon, though, last year. Oh, I know. Because you can't play Big Noon at Eugene. It's 9 a.m.
You could do it. It's just early.
Yeah, you're not doing that. So that's the problem.
They
need to be malleable. Ross Bjork, Top Gun Ted, they need to talk to them and say, we don't have these extreme environments anymore, and we're good partners. We do all the things that you want us to do. That needs to be a night game. That's the end of August in Central Ohio, for God's sakes. That should be at night.
Big Noon's great, right? But why can't Fox switch it for a week and do a night game?
They can, Bake.
I just don't. Why wouldn't they want that?
Yeah, do Big Noon, start at 6 o'clock, do a 2-hour pregame show into an 8 o'clock game. Or go from 6 to 7, play the game at 7. Big Noon at night, sold. What do they have that would preclude them from doing that? Some baseball game?
About to say Marlins Mets?
Good God. All right. That's conversation for another day. Jake Diebler had himself an afternoon yesterday. What all does it mean to the roster construction of the Buckeyes on the basketball side of things? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The Roofing Guys are your locally owned, trusted family business right here in Central Ohio. They've been hammering quality and service through the roof for over 25 years, offering professional services in roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Contact them at theroofingguys.com. That's theroofingguys.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 80% lean Kroger brand ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are $3.99 a pound with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford.
Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at MasterFord.net. Thanks.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Here's 3 reasons to buy your Blue Jackets ticket plans for the 25-26 season. 1, pick your seat and pick your games. 2, plans start at just 11 games. 3, priority access to Stanley Cup playoff tickets. Act now. Visit BlueJackets.com/tickets. After an audit of our programming, the suits here at the Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news. We fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on the Fan all season long. Yay, baseball.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
All your favorite Fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, we said yesterday in a little conversation, Jake Diebler was on with the Juice Bringers and a little bit about roster construction, and we found out that Bruce Thornton was coming back and had a really good conversation earlier this week. I recommend you have a listen to it with Adam Jardy of the Dispatch on how to go about building this and what this offseason could be for Jake Diebler. And one of the things that they're absolutely banking on is that the guys returning will be 1 year better, and they ought to be. So that's Bruce Thornton, provided the NBA dialogue doesn't come back the way that he wants, and my anticipation will be that he would be back, and I think theirs is as well. John Mobley Jr. is coming back. That's a win. You feel like Devin Royal's coming back. That's a win. So that's part of that. But one thing I said was, and I said this yesterday, and I'm sure that it was taken as a slight to Bruce, and maybe it wasn't intended, but I just don't think that he can be your best player on a team that gets to a Sweet 16. I think he can be part of an ensemble of best players that can get you to a Sweet 16. But I thought they needed one more guy who could really fill it up. And I don't think it could just be something you rely upon Devin, John, and Bruce to do. I think they needed one more.
This cannot be a third season of Save Us, Bruce.
No.
And that's not a knock on him, but it cannot be the case if this team has higher aspirations than the Big Ten tournament.
It's not, and it is. Right? It's not, and it is. Like, you just have to have some pros, and you have to have some, and you don't even have, yes, NBA pros would be great, but you got to have some guys who are just professional basketball players. And I think it seems to me what they did yesterday would kind of check that box. So Christoph Tilley is his name. He's a 7-footer, 240. He's the German. He committed to us yesterday. Tilley averaged 12.5, 5 boards for Santa Clara last season. He has 1 year of eligibility coming up. He joins Gabe Cupps as Buckeyes who have transferred in. I like the Cupps one a lot. I know some people were, because of, maybe wasn't quite as productive. Dude, he was thrust into an impossible spot at Indiana as a true freshman. Last year got hurt. Former Mr. Ohio. I like everything with the connective tissue of Cupps. I think that's a big win, and I think this Tilley one is a monster. This is a second-team All-West Coast Conference honoree. That is a great basketball league. That is Gonzaga. Obviously, he's from Santa Clara. That's St. Mary's. There's a ton of great basketball that's played in that. He's a pro in that he's 22 years old. That helps. He's a grown man. They needed a big, but he's a bit of a stretch big too. Like he can shoot it, he can fill it up. He's not shy in that regard. Every single game he played last season, he attempted a 3, oftentimes 3 or 4 of them. So that's something that he gives as well. I like it. I think it's a really nice, necessary addition for Jake Diebler and the fellas.
So this morning, I spent at least 10 minutes getting ready for the show, watching Christoph Tilley highlights from Santa Clara, because when I saw the numbers, I wasn't sure I loved this because 7 foot, only 4.5 rebounds. That kind of caused some concern to me. Mm-hmm. And watching the highlights, I still don't know how much he's going to impact the game right around the basket as far as being a true post player and getting rebounds and maybe affecting shots defensively. But this kid, when you watch his highlights, he is ridiculously good with the pick and roll, whether scoring off the pick and roll or passing out of the pick and roll. He's very athletic, very good with the ball in his hands, kind of a slasher as far as he likes to take the ball from the wing to the hoop and get a layup or a dunk. Very good passer as well. So there's a lot of things to like about this player, and it seems like Tilley has a high basketball IQ, and I believe that's something Jake Diebler talked about, was getting that basketball IQ up.
And that
everything you said is music to my ears. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, when they had announced, or when it was reported that he was going to do a Zoom meeting earlier this week, and now we know that Zoom call clearly went well, I did the same thing you did, Baker, and it's something that Ohio State hasn't had in a long time, which is a versatile big that you've got to scheme for. Like, this is going to make other teams have to prepare for that, for everything that you just threw out there. And I can't remember the last time Ohio State's had a big where a team's got to go, well, yeah, we got to make sure we have eyes on. I mean, it's hard to not have eyes. He's 7 foot, 240, but he's all of that and some.
I don't know they've ever had this.
Right?
Like perimeter. He's a true Euro. I mean, Kevin coached my boys and all this stuff, and seeing youth bat, there is no post. Doesn't exist. Like, it's everyone's on the perimeter. It's 5 out. It's pick and roll. You hunt matchups. You have screens that you fade into threes, and you play the pick and roll game, and that's the whole operation. There's no scenario where you just dribble down and post up a big. It almost never happens. And if now there's plenty of post opportunities, but those opportunities can come with Devin Royal too. Devin Royal plays bigger than he is. So when there's a mismatch situation, he's got a littler guy on him, he can post. I think Bruce could post a little bit with as burly as he is. I mean, he's so physical. He could do a little post up. But you start to put this kid in pick and roll opportunities, with pick and pop opportunities as well, with Bruce or John, and then balanced on the other side, and then you got Devin doing it on the other side. Now you're onto something. So I think this is a big get. As I mentioned, this is a great conference. West Coast Conference is a great conference. And he was the second leading scorer on his team in a very good conference. You're always curious how you do against the best competition. Always want to pull those things up. He was pretty good against the best competition.
He had a game against Oregon.
He did. Yeah, he did have
a good one.
Was that this year? He had Oregon State this year. I don't think they played Oregon this year. That could have been last year.
So maybe that was last year.
Yeah, it could have been last year. He had against Gonzaga, he had 17 one time out. Washington State, he had double digit points and boards. So you're looking for those type of things going forward. But I like the addition. I like the skill set. And I like now now we start to feel like you got a basketball team, guys. Okay, you got a 3-guard rotation now. You got Devin Royal going into year 3. You got Tilly, who's a guy who can flat out score, who can stretch the court, all of those things. Okay, now you're on to something. So that's a very good job out of Jake Diebler over the last couple of weeks with the Thornton news and now the Tilly news. Now you're starting to feel like you got a little bit of a basketball team. Now, basketball history could be made this weekend. The Final Four is set. They're all number ones. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? And what can Cooper Flagg do this weekend to change a little bit of the perception and the history around him? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Buckeye Lake Marina Open House is Friday, April 11th through Sunday, April 13th. Register to win some cool prizes and the grand prize of a weekend getaway at the lake, valued at over $3,000. Includes an Airbnb, a boat for the weekend, and $1,000 in lake area gift certificates. Buckeye Lake Marina will have the indoor showroom packed. Plus, you can visit the Docks and Marina store during the open house, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, April 11th through 13th. And you could win the grand getaway at Buckeye Lake. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for details. April 11th through 13th at Buckeye Lake Marina.
We've all been there. You come home after a long day only to find water dripping from the ceiling. Your roof has decided it's had enough. And now frustration sets in. Another unexpected problem added to your never-ending to-do list. At Newman Roofing, we get it. That's why we make the process simple and stress-free, handling every detail with professionalism, so you don't have to worry and can get back to the things that matter most to you. So, how do you begin? Step 1. Schedule your free estimate by calling our office at 614-NEW-ROOF or visiting our website, newmanroofing.com. Step 2. Meet with one of our trusted representatives who will guide you through the best plan for your home. Step 3. We get to work, and you watch your roof transform before your very eyes. Whether it's your roof, gutters, or siding, the Newman Roofing team is here to guide and support you every step of the way. Call today at 614-NEW-ROOF to schedule your free estimate and experience the Newman Roofing difference. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is simple and effective. At the end of the day, it's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Bands are us when dreams don't get in. Bands are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's our us. When dreams sunk in, that's our us.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's been 28 innings without a run scored for the Cincinnati Reds. They suffered their third straight 1-0 loss last night in Milwaukee against the Brewers. That's tied for the most consecutive 1-0 losses in baseball history. Cincinnati looks to halt their slide in Milwaukee versus the Brewers tonight at 8:10. The Guardians had Thursday off. Cleveland's also on a 3-game slide. They'll begin a series in Los Angeles tonight versus the Anaheim Angels at 9:40. In the minors, the Clippers and St. Paul Saints were rained out last night at Huntington Park. They'll make it up tonight with a doubleheader at 5:05. On the ice last night at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets were buried by the Avalanche 7-3. Columbus is 4 points out of the final wildcard spot. They'll play in Toronto Saturday night versus the Maple Leafs at 7 p.m. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Tim Bagan to join us at 10:30. We'll discuss Walton Goggins, among other things. Quite the double for him last weekend, going from White Lotus into the opening scene of Righteous Gemstones. I first heard about Cooper Flagg. He was a freshman. He was a freshman in high school when I first heard about him. I heard about him because NBC and all of his buddies, so this was 4 years ago, they would have been in third grade. It was their first year of travel hoops. And they were obsessed with how they were ranked. And if you're saying, wait, third graders were obsessed, 9-year-olds were obsessed with how they were ranked? Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were. And there was apparently some ranking service of nine-year-olds that ranks kids as basketball phenoms, or quite honestly, just little kids playing basketball. It's absolute and utter nonsense, as you can imagine. But they were obsessed with it. And one of the kids' dads came up to me and he said, "Have you seen this Cooper Flagg dude?" And I don't know who that is. It makes no point of reference to me. And he pulled up an Instagram video of this kid from Maine. And you say to yourself, wait, like the next great American basketball prodigy is from Maine? Folks, if you have kids in youth sports and you have kids who play youth basketball and you're out there listening right now, the road that he would have had to have traveled to get to where he is without precedent. Just in terms of the competition that he would have faced as a little kid, and typically best players now, the way it's an AAUification, so the best players like kind of all get together and play AAU together, and they play for their community teams, but then when it comes to AAU, they all play together. It's an iron sharpens irons approach. Where would he have found other iron? Maine is not exactly a rich basketball producing state. Now, Massachusetts would have some, certainly. And my guess is he played a lot of kids around the New England area, and that's probably how it's the AAU world gets pretty small pretty quick. But that's when he would have had to have started getting noticed. The idea that this happened, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. What is very possible to wrap your head around is we have, over the last 25 years in sports, gotten very good at identifying, and really longer than that with some of the examples I'm going to give you, at identifying greatness young and then having that greatness reach the potential, even our wildest potential. Just think about it in our lifetime. LeBron James identified as a 16-year-old. Chosen one. Sports Illustrated cover when it mattered. He's 40. He's going to go down as the 1A, 1B greatest player to ever play the game. He was identified at 16. Tiger Woods. That's way back. Tiger Woods identified 14, 13. Way to get a load of this kid. Nike gave Nike Golf, they built it around him as a 19-year-old. Hello World, remember all that? And then he did all of it. He lived up to all of it. He became maybe the greatest. There's a stretch of his career that's the most impressive golf anyone on the planet's ever played. He's not going to catch Jack, so he'll be the 1B. Fine. But there's a stretch where it's more impressive than anyone's ever done. When you have the low score and the largest margin of victory at all the majors at the same time, you've lapped the field. He did. The Williams sisters. You identify them very young. They lived up to it. How about Bryce Harper on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a high school kid in Las Vegas? Certainly lived up to it. Multiple-time MVP. He's not Shohei Ohtani, but he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Think in hockey. Sid, McDavid. You heard about Sid at 15, 6. Hockey's probably the best at it. When they identify him young, McKinnon, Bedard, when they identify him young, they usually hit. But we've waited for a while for like the consensus next best American basketball player. We've talked about this. Like face of the NBA, once Steph and LeBron go, it's Luka, it's Joker, it's Giannis. Who is the American face of the NBA? I don't know if this kid can do that. I don't know that. What he can do this weekend is, and by the way, he still should be in high school. He graduated early. He should be a senior in high school right now, but he left early. So what he can do this weekend is he can put himself in the elevated company of Carmelo Anthony as a kid who came in, identified, 5-star, difference maker, hang a banner. That's what he can do. And that group is an elite group. The only other guy I can remember, this is going way back, but I think Purvis Ellison was the most outstanding player in the Final Four for Louisville as a freshman. But he ended up playing more years at Louisville, and there wasn't a situation where it was like, oh, can't wait to get him to the NBA. I'm not sure what Cooper Flagg will be in the NBA. He's 6'9", 6'10". He plays guard. I don't know what his comp is. I don't know. When you watch him play, it's like I just need to see it. Can he shoot it well enough at the next level? Here's what you know watching him play. He gets downhill with intent to be violent at the rim. He relentlessly attacks. He probes, he attacks. He plays like a lead guard. He's basically their primary ball handler. They put him in pick and roll all of the time. He creates for others. He rebounds relentlessly. He's got all of those things that you would want. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft. But that's a conversation for another day. What he's chasing this weekend in the Final Four is history. And it's elite history.
I had read somewhere that, and I think this was actually ESPN, their ceiling comp for Flagg was Kawhi Leonard, and the floor comp was Lamar Odom.
I like the Odom one. I think if Odom doesn't get in trouble, doesn't kind of have the off-field stuff, I think that he's a great player. I mean, he would have been a Hall of Famer for sure had he been able to steer it clear. That's a good job out of me. Yeah. Purvis Ellison, freshman at Louisville, scored 25 and 11 boards in a 72-69 championship win against Duke. But he wasn't considered like this. Not like this. I mean, this is heavy stuff. You're tracing down Carmelo. Like, that's Usually these one and dones. The other one who actually, you know what? I can't believe I forgot this one. There is one more that's probably even a better comparison to Cooper Flagg, and that's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis did this. And that Kentucky team in 2012 was very similar to this Duke team in that they were loaded. It wasn't – Carmelo was kind of a one-man show, him and Jerry McNamara, and they had some role players, but he was like the one blue chip. That Kentucky team in 12 was loaded. That Final Four was loaded. Ohio State lost to a Kansas team that was very, very good, and then Kentucky really put it on Kansas. That's probably the thing that you're chasing most recently is Anthony Davis in 12, where Anthony Davis was number one player in the country, went to a loaded roster already, and then they did all of it. And that's what Flagg's trying to do this weekend. Are you rooting for them?
No. Just because it's Duke.
I can't root for Duke.
Really where my rooting interest goes now. It's to the uniforms. And not this Duke team. Not with John Shire leading them.
I got to root for our coach's show, Bruce Pearl.
I have found myself pulling for them, for Duke. I never had like a big hatred for them, the way that some do, and I do think that was Coach K. Sometime towards the end of Coach K, he was it was a lot.
He got a little insufferable.
He became insufferable, scolding the fans and scolding his team. Remember that? They lost to Carolina on senior night, and he was scolding the fans and scolding his team and all of that stuff as they were trying to honor him. I think this Duke team's pretty easy to root for. And I understand that they're not a Duke team. That's a big ask for a lot of people out there. But I like the idea of seeing greatness. And I think if they finish this thing this weekend and put a dot on the I, then this is one of those things that you're going to tell people about a long time from now. Like, remember the time the kid from Maine went to Duke and led an absurdly talented roster to a national championship? I think there's some history to that. It is 4 1 seeds playing on Saturday in the Final Four. We will get you set for both of those games, let you know how our brackets held up. And this is an unbelievable job out of somebody here at the Fan in the Bracket Challenge. We will get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that. And often, we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. That's tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you. Tri-State Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a mysterious room of long-forgotten, moldy mascot memorabilia. Often pitched by ad agencies, always rejected by NJM. Is it real? We may never know. But what is real is NJM's dedication to doing what's right for their customers. Astoundingly, they're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Learn more at njm.com.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Yeah, boss asked us to get the Ohio Lottery kiosks ready for the new $20 scratch-off, $2 million extreme cash. With $38 million in total prizes, we had to go big. We had cup holders, monster truck tires, even installed air horns, in case somebody reveals the extreme symbol and wins every prize on the scratch-off. Boss thinks the light show's a bit much, but gotta celebrate $2 million top prize winners somehow. So yeah, play $2 million extreme cash from the Ohio Lottery. And if you can tell my boss I did a good job, that'd be cool too. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
The Blue Jackets are making a push for the playoffs, and they can't wait to fire the cannon right in your face. Wait, that was a touch violent. I'll try again. It would be helpful to chart their progress right here on The Fan. Thank you kindly.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at changethegameohio.org. That's changethegameohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're watching more rain as we head into this Friday. The heavy showers push out this morning, but we'll see an additional round as we head through this evening and into tonight. Flooding concerns will remain a possibility throughout the day, so use caution and avoid those areas of high water. Temperatures will be in the 50s back to the 70s on Saturday. Some storms could be possible. Flooding concerns will stick around through early Sunday. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and we are sponsored and brought to you by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. So this is pretty interesting. I got this from my buddy with Hoops Academy. Apparently, Cooper, he has a twin brother. I guess I knew he had a brother. I didn't know it was his twin. But he says that Nike created an AAU team for the Maine area called Maine Elite, EYBL, that he played in, which is diabolical because, of course, he signed with New Balance. So it's a little bit like Adidas with the St. Vincent St. Mary deal when LeBron was there. And Sonny Vaccaro offering him, wasn't it a check for $1 million that LeBron turned down? I want to say that it was for him to sign with Adidas and then eventually going to Nike. So another layer to the Cooper Flag operation there in terms of him getting found in his operation to get there. They will be the second game on Saturday night on our friends at 10 TV here locally. The first game will be Florida and Auburn, an all SEC affair. It will be Duke and Houston in the nightcap. All games taking place in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. How did our bracket do? We did our nonsensical bracket. Here's the problem with the nonsensical bracket. I haven't even looked at this. Here's the problem with it. The nonsensical bracket is nonsense, and this was a chalk tournament. So you're not going to fare well because chalk is going to prevail.
Yeah, damn, Maryland knocked out Colorado State. Our bracket, out of about 2,300 submissions, is right now 2,283rd place. 38 points generated by the Bishop and Friends nonsense bracket.
7 points back. We're like 7th from last.
We're close.
Yeah.
So Panama Ted is 12th overall?
Overall, of the 2,300 brackets I mentioned, Panama Ted is 12th, and that leads all talent in this building.
Wow. Use talent loosely. And then what do you have here? Dami is third. Dami's second?
Dom is second of the fan and 10 TV talent. He's in 53rd place overall with 87 points. Okay. And then Skip Mossick's got 3 brackets for some reason, but his Tee to Green Mulligan 1 is 96th place.
You know what that tells me about those 3?
Yeah.
They don't live life to the fullest. They don't like to take risks.
I think they just went with this number smaller than this one. I'll go with the smaller number. That's what it seems like.
They just threw their money in a 401k and let it ride out for 60 years.
Well, good advice for right now. All right, so I see this. All right, so I pulled this up. So I had the boys do one together, and then I did one. So mine is 729th, it appears, with 75 points total accumulated. But I still have my championship. I have Duke over Auburn in the final, so I can make a little bit of hay this weekend. My boys are currently leading me. My actual sons, as they have 2 more points. They have 77. Where do you stand, Reese and Bake? Where are you guys at?
So I had my all bad boy Final Four, and my national championship game, I think, was St. John's and Alabama, or no, maybe St. John's and Alabama was it. I am in 1,761st place with 62 points.
So you're cooked then from a points perspective. You would be donezo. Yeah.
So I am in 1,314th place with 69 points. My final game is still intact, though, as I have Florida over Duke, but I think a lot of people have that final game as well.
Well, I see. So Panama Ted has Houston winning it. Dami has the Gates, and then Skip has the Gators as well. I have Duke, and you have Florida over Duke.
Yes, that's what I have.
Okay, so you can get some points there. You can rally a little bit. This is going to be an awesome Final Four. It just is. I mean, they're all great teams. There's nobody here who's weak. This is when you have this type of great talent, you're going to get great games. And I know some of these games haven't been great through the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. These ones will be. And if you think about 08, that's the Mario Chalmers shot. You know, that's Memphis at the line to ice it in regulation and missing free throws. And I want to say it was Chris Douglas Roberts, maybe, was that his name? Who missed some free throws. Derrick Rose was on that Memphis team with John Calipari. That Memphis team was a powerhouse. It's good for the NCAA that Kansas won that, because then they put Memphis on probation and they had to vacate like all of those wins. So that would have been quite awkward had that been the case. They did that at Louisville too, though, didn't they? Didn't Louisville
pretty
give
sure
up their title?
Louisville had theirs vacated.
How dumb. So those games were great in 08. I anticipate these ones being great as well. It's a big one for Shire. You know, you think about a guy who had never been a head coach before. He gets handed the keys to the kingdom. They've obviously been on one and done for a very long time at Duke. It's been about a decade that they've done it. Initially, Coach K was reticent to go down the one and done road. No longer. They're locked in. They've been it for about a decade. They spend like crazy. Their NIL is locked in. They have Cooper Flagg, generational player. It's time. And this is kind of, if he can pull it off, there's a little bit of a Ryan Day feel to it where you're like, oh, this is the John Shire program now. And he commented on that transition from Coach K to John Shire.
So I think it's been like a beautiful thing, like very organic and natural with Coach K and I. The fact that we're still tight as could be. I've wanted this. I want him to be proud when he watches us. So, you know, the defense, the sharing, all the things that he's taught me, I want him to see and feel with our group, while also understanding I'm not going to be perfect. You know, I'm not going to bat 1,000, and he's really given me the room and the support that I need in order to succeed. So a lot of us being here is him having the vision of just a successful transition. And the last thing I would say is not many coaches truly want the program to succeed once they're done. And I think part of his legacy forever will be the fact that he set our program up for such success, and we're able to be in a Final Four in year 3.
You buy that?
Yeah.
What he said there? That's a very interesting thing to say, that most coaches don't want the program they leave to have success when they're gone. It's an interesting thing to say. So, yeah, the times where I've seen coaches go out on their own, typically they do want. I mean, you think about Urban, like he wants Ohio State to succeed at the highest level. I think Tress wanted that too. So I don't. That's an interesting comment to make. I think.
Sorry, Reese. I think we see that with like records in sports, right? Like some guys are cool with it. They're like, records are meant to be broke. Someone should break this. And other guys are like, no, I want to keep my record forever.
Yeah, I think it's human nature sometimes that
maybe,
and I don't necessarily know, if Coach K wants Shire to have the kind of success that he had while at Duke, because then you overshadow the legend. So maybe there's like, oh yeah, you can have this success, but don't take away what I did here. And I don't know if you could ever take it away, but you can certainly become a bigger legend then.
Yeah. Yeah. The opponent will be Houston. It's pretty remarkable first of all, I had no recollection of this, that Kelvin Sampson's first collegiate coaching job was at Montana Tech. The Ore Diggers.
Where is that?
Butte, Montana.
The Ore Diggers. What a name. I like it.
It's huge mining town, and so it's that's their specialty is engineering. For mining engineering is the specialty of it. So I didn't realize he started there. Just pull up his Wikipedia. I had forgotten that he was fired in the middle of his second year at Indiana. I had forgotten that he was 22-4 at Indiana in the 07-08 season when he got fired. They were 11-2 in the Big Ten that year when he was fired. He was out of college basketball. They had the violations with Eric Gordon, all of that stuff, which now would be nothing. But his Houston run, I mean, just go back to 17-18. Listen to this record: 27-8, 33-4, 23-8, 28-4, 32-6, 33-4, 32-5, 34-4. That's getting it done.
Of the three teams that Duke could have potentially faced, I think Houston's their biggest challenge for Duke.
Well, they're going to punch him in the mouth.
And here's why, Reese. They're the best defensive team in the country.
Yeah.
They only allow 58.3 points a game, one of only two teams in the country that allow less than 60 a game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a punch in the mouth. And I think if Duke is to pull this off, and if you're CBS and you're 10 TV, that's what you're hoping for, is Duke doesn't need to pull it off, but you need them playing in the championship game for maximum eyeballs. So you get them, if they can win the game on Saturday night, it doesn't really matter who they play Monday. And the game Monday's pretty weird too, because you're talking about Bruce Pearl. One of his first hires was Todd Golden. He was on his staff. So those guys go back a long, long ways. And what Pearl's done everywhere he's been is pretty remarkable as well. Everywhere he goes, he wins in a very, very big way. This Florida build is one that, and we talked about this earlier in the week, Florida really is what Ohio State basketball can be. That, to me, is what it should be. There's no reason Florida has a better basketball program than Ohio State. None. It's the same circumstances for both of them. But they've done it at UF.
Wouldn't it be something if the championship Monday night was Kelvin Sampson in Houston versus Bruce Pearl in Auburn, two coaches that got in trouble for doing nefarious things that aren't nefarious anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. It'd be a pretty good story if that was the case. But I think what the television executive want is Duke versus anybody. That wins. But should be a great Final Four on Saturday and a pretty dang good championship game on Monday. Tim May in 2 minutes as we're a week and a day out from the spring game. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Skyline nachos are back, and now there's a spicy version. Get them with Skyline's cheddar or habanero cheese, topped with fiery jalapeno slices. But hurry, Skyline's regular and new spicy nachos are only at participating restaurants for a limited time.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back?
back. If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REDEEM to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Hey, can you
Terms
ask
and
him if I
conditions
can
apply.
ask him
Visit
about
website for details.
what he's up to
Must
now?
be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, he's one of the original great friends of the program. He is the host of the Tim May Show. He also contributes here quite often, right here at the Fan. He is Tim May. He joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Are you watching White Lotus and Righteous Gemstones?
I'm watching Righteous Gemstones, but I don't know why, because that thing went off the rails in the last season, and it's continued off the rails. It's like a roller coaster that people are screaming on, but you have no idea where the station is. You know,
This is my theory.
I do like Walton Goggins, as you and I texted about the other day, and but it's crazy.
I think this is my theory on it, buddy. I think that Danny McBride and his producing partner, Jody Hill, I think their approach to making television, I think they did this with Eastbound and Down too, which I adored, is I think they say, let's see what we can get away with. Let's see if they'll let us do this. And it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't serve a plot. The opening scene of the most recent episode served no point. None.
No.
It just Uncle Baby Billy in all of his splendor.
In all of his splendor. And, like I told you, Walton Goggins is, I don't know if he's underrated anymore, but he's, it's crazy. You know, like White Lotus is a strange, I haven't watched all the episodes of it, but it's a very strange show also in its own regard. But the Righteous Gemstones, I mean, I just, they've made their point, in terms of whatever ilk it is they're trying to rip there. And sounds like Danny McBride had a problem with gospel, with folks. I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much. I think it's over the top, and there's more F words in that than the casino, and it kind of leaves you hanging,
It does. Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes,
I think, it's nuts. Hey, what's going on? What's this spring versus a lot of adjustments, right? I mean, you just played a game not that long ago. You're not going to have the spring break. You open with Texas, which Ohio State's never had anything quite like that, where you're going to number one versus number two. I don't even know in college. We had looked into this in terms of college football teams. It's probably very likely it'll be Texas, Ohio State will be the top two teams in the country to start next year. I couldn't find an instance where they ever met to start the season. I couldn't find that anywhere in the research that I had been done. What tone have you noticed talking to guys, if any, different from this year from previous years?
Well, the main thing is it's a young team. I mean, Ryan Day refocused on that aspect of it the other day when we were talking to him, and they know that the thing that the theme is, as Caleb Downs pointed out the other day, and other guys have Caden Curry running down the line. All the banners that are hanging and stuff mean nothing to this team. It's almost like a championship team in let's say the basketball, in the NBA, where you win a championship and then you break it down. I mean, you just shake it up. You get rid of these guys, you bring in these guys, and the plan is by the end of the year to be playing at or maybe above that same level. And that's what it reminds me of. I mean, there's some mainstays back, but boy, the guys they lost, unbelievable. especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's pretty nuts. And the thing is, like you're talking about, Bo, this is the new era of college football. Is you've got Texas and Ohio State in fairly similar circumstances to a certain extent, personnel-wise, maybe not quite as widespread at Texas, but both will be having brand new starting quarterbacks. Yes, Archie Manning has started a couple of games for Texas, but he's really not. I know we all think he's going to be the next great thing, but he hasn't shown it yet for an extended period. And you've got Ohio State with three really talented guys there, but led by Julian Sayin, you got to believe. But they're being picked number 1 and number 2 maybe in the country. We'll see how it goes, in those preseason polls and stuff. But that's kind of nuts when you think about it, because they both helped themselves through recruiting. They both helped themselves to a certain extent in their transfer portal. I mean, we're sitting there talking to Ethan Oneonwa and Philip Daniels. Was it yesterday? Those could be your 2 starting tackles for Ohio State, and last year one was playing for Rice, the other was playing for Minnesota. So, it's a whole new world, brother.
Well, and I think a big part of that, you're going to see it with Texas and Ohio State 1 and 2, and I do think that's what it'll end up being, is because they're not alone. Georgia, new quarterback. Notre Dame, new quarterback. Michigan, new quarterback. Oregon, new quarterback. Oklahoma, not that they're on that level, but Oklahoma, new quarterback. Bama, new quarterback. Like, the only people who have I don't love the Nussmeier kid at LSU. I'm not thinking he's going to be some. There was nothing I saw last year from him that lead me to believe that he's going to elevate them to some unprecedented
level. You mean
levels.
Suddenly he's going to be that guy?
Yeah, right. And so, a lot of people give Arch credits as well, he's been there 2 years. He's a Manning. He's prepared for this moment. At least he's got a couple of starts. A lot of these guys don't. And that's what gets to there was nothing to me, Tim, surprising about Ryan Day this week being emphatic about we need a spring game. He's got young quarterbacks who need reps. What are you hearing about that position battle and what he needs to see this last week out of what we think is between the top 2 guys with Keenholz and Sayin?
I haven't heard anything that leads me that, they've all had their ups and downs. I mean, even Ryan will tell you that. I mean, and you expected that to be the case, right? That's why I don't look at August 30th as a referendum game for what's coming. I'm talking about for either team, Texas and Ohio State, because there's so much of a season left, and there will be huge mistakes made in that game by probably both starting quarterbacks and maybe even a backup or 2. We'll see. But I'm hearing what you expected to hear, that if there was a game tomorrow, that Julian Sayin would be the guy, but that doesn't mean they're giving up on the other guys. And you have to believe, no matter whether anyone inside is telling you this, you have to believe they're going to be looking for at least a competent backup kind of guy in the spring, if they can find one in the portal. Because 3 quarterbacks, no matter where you are, is not enough. That's barely enough to have pregame warm-up, I mean, they got a couple of walk-ons, but the point is, you got to look like a team when you go out there to warm up, right? But yeah, I mean, but Sayin's going to be good, in my opinion, just based on what you've heard about him, what you've seen about him, the way he throws the ball, he looks good. The guy who's that guy, popping the glove in the popping the catcher's mitt in the bullpen. Well, that's Julian Sayin. Look out, here he comes. But Wild thing, are they going to play that when he comes walking out? That remains to be seen. But yeah, I'm hearing good things about him, but inconsistency through the spring. Because you're mainly going to hear about what they're not doing well as opposed to what they are doing well at this point, because we're talking about huge shoes to walk in and then to fill. And we all saw Will Howard. I mean, Will Howard and Chip Kelly, I don't think found their true sweet spot until the playoffs last year. So I would agree. This will be a process no matter who it is.
Do you think I want to ask you about, we got to score points, right? So I want to ask you about that running back room, because I was looking at that room and I was saying, okay, you like what you're hearing. Sounds like CJ's had a really good spring, but potentially is there a spot where they may add as well? Are they comfortable with the guys in that room? And it's a loaded question because you're coming off of a season where you had 2 NFL running backs.
Right. It's almost unfair. Yeah. To think about that. It reminded me of the Cowboys when they had Craig Morton and Roger Staubach at quarterback, but more than that, they had Calvin Hill and who was the other guy? Dwayne Thomas, I think was his name. But and you kind of go, well, who's going to be the guy? That was like it was last year, but it was a perfect compliment last year. I think you agree, right, Bo? I mean, between those two guys, that's the thing. Last year's team, we've talked about it and talked about it with a bunch of people. That was an anomaly, man. I don't believe you're going to see teams like that, loaded like that, moving forward where there aren't some glaring problems. But yeah, I think James Peoples, I mean, just give, the people's choice, as I call him, give him the ball and get out of the way. I mean, to a certain extent. And here's the other thing, you always argue with me that, well, of course it's Julian saying, and I go, well, yeah, but I mean, you got a long way between here and the start of the season. But I'm telling you, their 3 starting wide receivers could go anywhere and play, right now and stuff. So you need to exploit that. Number 2, you've picked up Max Clare, tight end in the transfer portal, and you got Jelani Thurman sitting there ready to break out. You got to believe, it's what Philip Daniels was talking about. As the first name he named when he said he showed up at Ohio State from Minnesota was, you looking around, there's Jelani Thurman. Holy smokes. All these guys that looked apart, now it's their time. And so I think you could have a little bit more of a different approach offensively. Maybe, the Tim Mema method, when in doubt, air it out, could be definitely in play this year. Because, in Brian Hartline, what's going to be his lean? Obviously, it's going to be tutored and measured by Ryan Day. But still, you got to let your new offensive coordinator kind of do what he thinks is best with this offense too, when the final analysis comes. So I'm very interested. But back to your question, I think they wouldn't mind picking up possibly another running back in the portal, but it's got to be a certain kind of, Quinshon Judkins isn't out there every year, and boy, what a compliment that guy ended up being. So you don't want to mess up what's going on, but you definitely always are looking to improve. And, as Ryan Day said, has said many times, and other coaches, you're always looking for the next best guy to come down the pike. And the other thing was, it's like defensively, like the way Tim Walton said, it's musical chairs as far as they're concerned. In the secondary, there's a lot of talented guys out there. Don't slack, or somebody could be sitting in your chair. So, I just think running back wise, though, especially with Sam Williams-Dixon coming back, I think he made the right choice there. I think they're okay. Let's put it that way in the running back room.
Going to be fun watching this young team grow, and especially,
absolutely.
Student appreciation will be fun tomorrow, and then spring game the following week. Good stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I got to put my hair coloring in so I look like a student tomorrow.
No one will notice. Just shave.
Yeah,
just shave and blonde it up. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
When's the last time you were clean shaven?
I don't know. It was a long time ago, and I did this for all kinds of reasons, like a lot of old men do. But I've been thinking about going back, retro, because just you kind of look, and then all of a sudden look around, and every old man looks just like me, or vice versa, and I'm just going, everybody. I mean, even movie stars are growing these little half-grow beards, and stuff. I mean, I talked to Ryan Day almost into growing his beard. He was reluctant to keep it through the season. And I go, man, it looks good. That's all I told him.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. All right, buddy. Good stuff. Talk to you soon.
All right. Always a pleasure, brother.
All right, there he goes. Tim May, the Tim May Show. And right here at The Fan, joining on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We do Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com and switch today.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Ryan Day's Buckeyes are back on the practice field as they get ready for whatever the hell they're calling the spring game. And we're your home for all the on and off field gossip. Your Buckeye flagship station, The Fan. The Fan.
Guys, it's college hoops superfan Timmy Hall. The finals are here, and the only thing for sure is this. It's the last time to bet on college basketball this season. It's been an amazing ride to get here, so get in on all the action, expected and unexpected, with DraftKings Sportsbook. Live betting, exclusive content, promos, and parlays. DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. Ready to make the first bet? Check out the matchups. Pick a team to win. It's that simple. First time, here's something special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code TheFan971. That's code TheFan971 for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Ohio only. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Friday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Earlier this morning, ESPN confirmed reports that the PGA Tour rejected the Saudi Arabia-backed PIF and their recent offer to invest $1.5 billion into PGA Tour Enterprises, which is the tour's for-profit entity. The offer came apparently with a couple of caveats for Live Golf to remain, as long as the PIF was involved or putting their money into this. The PIF's governor to serve as co-chairman of the Tour Enterprises board, Team Golf to remain a thing, and for it to go all year round. Sources previously told ESPN that the Live Golf League continuing in its present form was a non-starter for the PGA Tour. The PIF dug in its heels in negotiations and wants Team Golf to be a part of the sport's future ecosystem if they can reach a deal. Financial records filed by Live Golf's United Kingdom-based company indicated it had nearly $400 million in operating losses in 2023. A thing or not a thing?
I just think golf screwed up. It's really screwed up with this. You have the PIF coming in. You have the Saudi billions. They attempted to buy Worldwide Golf. That's what they wanted to do. The Saudis have done this for a while, right? I mean, this is sports washing at its finest. We've seen, Russia did this with the Olympics. We've seen it with China in the Olympics. Like, this is what happens. Like, Qatar did it. Same thing. And that's what they were trying to do. Now, the thing that they really missed on, it's hard to know if they missed or not, because I don't think that they ever cared about being profitable. I think what we're always going to have to do on this thing is just kind of wait out when the PIF will become bored of it. I think that's what you're waiting. Like, are they just going to be bored of operating a tour that nobody sees or cares about? And until that happens, then they can just keep doing this. But, like, any of us could have told them that, like, you're going to throw $200 million or whatever at Dustin Johnson. Like, I'm sorry, man. I got bad news for you. Like, no one is rushing to a television at 2:00 in the morning to watch Dustin Johnson play in Singapore. They're just not. It's just, there's nobody in golf who moves the needle other than Tiger Woods. So golf in this country is, for the casual sports fan, is the majors. That's it. For the golf adjacent and more serious sports fan, it's the majors and the tournaments you care about, ones in your community, like the Memorial here. And then for the diehards, they watch all of it. And even the diehards aren't watching this live stuff. I know Scotty bets on it, but, like, they're just not. No one's watching it. So I think, to me, I'm going to say, that's a long way of saying I don't think this is a thing, because I don't think it's a thing until the PIF says we're bored of this. I think that's really when it ends.
So I don't think it's a thing, but you're telling me that you're the PGA Tour and you can basically go back to what you had. You just have to let LIV kind of still exist, and you get $1.5 billion? I mean, that's a pretty big win, I would think, for the PGA Tour. The interesting thing, Bo, is when are they going to get bored, and when these players' deals run out, are they going to leave? Are they going to lose all of their big names? Are their big names going to go back to the PGA? Because that would really kind of force their hand in all of this.
So you're in the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. You're Bugs Bunny signing the deal with the devil cackling. That's bake. Give me the $1.5 billion, and they can have a seat at the table. That would be the PGA Tour counter to that. Is, yeah, the $1.5 billion, but here's what they bought. They bought us, and now they have a say in what this is going forward. And the PGA Tour has proven that they don't need the Saudi billions to thrive. Not thrive the way they were under the Tiger era, but certainly still do very, very well. They've won from an attention standpoint and a monetary standpoint. They've won. The PGA Tour has won.
This is going to be one of the more ultimate tests of what's your price? Because the PIF's offer was $1.5 billion. What happens when it becomes $2.5 billion or $3 billion? Like, what do you say to that? If it is, what's been reported is the governor of the PIF is a golf fanatic. So does he ever get bored of this idea?
That's my point. Until that happens, if you're turned down 1.5, I don't know that you're. What's the difference?
$500 million, another whole billion.
So you give us so they can't spend the 1.5. Like, what are they going to do with 3? Like, but what you're giving up is the power to do what you want with a sport. So there's a pricelessness feeling to that.
Adam Schefter was on Get Up Thursday, and it sounds like he warned NFL teams not to assume Arch Manning's going to be there for them in 2026. Quote, first of all, there's no guarantees that Arch Manning's coming out after next year. It sounds like he certainly could be staying another year. I'm not a college football insider, but none of the Mannings ever went out early, and I don't know, with NIL money being what it is, why Arch would do that. So all of this conversation about tanking for Arch next year, he could be in the draft in 2027, not even next year. End quote. Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing, because, well, yeah. Shefty's the very best NFL insider there is. It's awesome. He's on Rothman and Ice every week. It's really cool. But everybody in college football knows this. Everybody does. He was never going to sit for 2 years to play 1. He sat for 2 to play 2. That's what he's going to do. And honestly, he could play 3 if he wants. I mean, he has a red shirt. So if he wants to play 3 years of college football, he absolutely can. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he could play 3 more years at Texas. He could write his number on the NIL, and they don't need the money anyway, but he could write whatever number he wanted, and it would be matched in NIL. Like he can front, like he does Paninis, he can do whatever he wants. So it won't be about money. And knowing how much they appreciate like an old school college experience, Eli had that at Ole Miss, Peyton had it at Tennessee. I think that he could very easily play at least, I think it's expected, that's a given he's going to play 2 years, and maybe he tries to play 3.
So, Bo, I don't remember, did it say in our list of top NIL deals if Arch was in there, if he was one of the top earning?
Bake, remember that list, though, wasn't top earning. It was the most
biggest deals.
The most deals.
Most deals, yeah.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time believing, and maybe I'm a little naive in this, but I don't think I usually am when it comes to these players and the money they're getting. I have a hard time believing that what he would make in college would outdo his NFL contract and the time to get to his next NFL contract. So the money may be there and he'll be fine, and Arch Manning doesn't need money anyway, but I can't believe financially in the long term this is the right move.
It isn't, but they don't need money. So when it's like the Forrest Gump thing, when Lieutenant Dan invested in a company about an apple, and he said, I was told I didn't have to worry about money anymore. That's one less thing. The Mannings don't have to worry about money. So he can just have whatever experience he wants to have as a human. And if that means multiple years of college football, cool. Like, the NFL is not going to be, and by the way, he can also play this very smartly. Let's say next year the team that has the number 1 pick is a situation like Andrew Luck got in with the Colts, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, Manning got hurt, otherwise this is the favorite. He can play that game too.
That would be the thing, because we've already seen the Manning family do that with Eli.
Yeah, for sure. So that's something to pay attention to too. He has more options. And by the way, when he is in the draft, if he is what we think he's going to be, the idea that you could trade up to get him is impossible. That's a fool's errand. There would be no compensation that anyone who has the number 1 pick where he's eligible would give up that pick. Final hour of the week coming up next. What we learned coming up first. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking with no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. It's your money, right? So keep more of it. Make the switch today at huntington.com/yourmoney.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black-Jacques. Jacques, where are you today?
How?
You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmouth.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump check.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check? Yes, of course. A sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Skyline nachos are back, and now there's a spicy version. Get them with Skyline's cheddar or habanero cheese, topped with fiery jalapeno slices. But hurry, Skyline's regular and new spicy nachos are only at participating restaurants for a limited time.
Hey, it's Anthony. Of course, I sit and do the show 3 hours a day. But after that, I'm looking to get things done and enjoy the spring weather. So I want to be on my feet a lot, playing golf, working out, just moving around. I was introduced to the Good Feet store because my feet were aching way too often. And what I found there is a 3-step custom arch support system that has me feeling awesome. My personally fit arch supports have helped realign my feet, reposition my body into a more ideal position, and not only that, strengthen my feet to help support me. It's made all the difference in how I feel every day. The Good Feet store is going to help you where you need relief and find the arch supports that work best for you. And when you wear them as a system, Their arch supports are more effective at long-term pain reduction and elimination. So go in, take the free test walk. Good Feet arch supports are immediately available. Their products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City, or at goodfeet.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REDEEM to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Save no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State football will hold the annual spring game next Saturday at Ohio Stadium. The Buckeyes will have Student Appreciation Day tomorrow at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. That'll be practice 11 of 14 in the spring. In college hoops, the Final Four is tomorrow in San Antonio. It's all number one seeds for the second time in history. Florida and Auburn play Saturday around 6, while Duke and Houston go around 9 p.m. The national championship game will be played in the Alamo Dome Monday night around 9 o'clock. In the NBA tonight, the Cavaliers are at the Spurs at 8 p.m. Cleveland can wrap up the number one seed in the East with a win in San Antonio and a Celtics loss to the Suns. In baseball Friday, the Reds are at the Brewers at 8:10. The Guardians are at the Angels around 9:40. The Columbus Clippers host the St. Paul Saints in a doubleheader at Huntington Park around 5 o'clock. And in the NHL, the Blue Jackets are at the Maple Leafs tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You can hear Blue Jackets hockey and breaking sports news when it happens, all on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Friday edition of the program. Jeremy Birmingham going to join us at 11:30. The Buckeyes just pulled another commitment out of the clear blue sky. This one, a local one. C.J. Sana committed to the Buckeyes, linebacker to Olentangy. So he chose the Buckeyes here in the last 5 minutes or so. Picked up a couple of what a cool story that is, man. A local kid following in the footsteps of the great Joshua Perry from linebacker there to Ohio State. That's awesome. So very, very cool news there. Picked up a couple of safeties earlier in the week, and Berm will join us with some perspective on that coming up in about 27 minutes. Right now, though, let's see what we learned this week, if anything.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
I think in terms of the sports we talk about the most, and that being college football, NFL, I think the two things from a college football side with the spring game a week from tomorrow, what I learned this week was Ryan Day with a young team needs a game. And Ohio State needs a game, and they're going to get one. It's not a spring showcase; it's a spring game. They're going to have it a week from today. It's one where we need to see these young quarterbacks kind of thrown into the fire a little bit and make some throws. And he wants a big crowd there. And by the looks of the forecast, looks like you're going to get a decent day. So it's something that's a spring game that we didn't know how they would respond to all of this coming out of a national championship game that wasn't that long ago with Texas as the opener. There are a lot of new faces on this roster who he needs to see them kind of handle what it's like under the lights. And I understand it'll be in the middle of the day, so it's not going to be under the lights, but just under fire with the crowd, how do you respond to it? Because you don't really know that until you're thrown into it. The other thing we learned with his availability earlier in the week, like he would answer a question about just Julian Sayin, so I thought that was something there. It wasn't nothing. But at the end of the conversation I was having with Tim May at 10:30, and you can listen to that wherever you get your podcasts. He was talking a little bit about Sayin and Keenholz and all of it. This is always my warm blanket for Buckeye fan. The receivers stayed. So if they didn't think that they had a quarterback who could get him the football, they likely wouldn't have. So much like when C.J. Stroud was the man waiting in the wings, whether it's Lincoln or Julian, and inevitably maybe Tavian down the road, there's enough faith in Brian Hartline's old receiver room to lead you to believe that they believe in the quarterback. And that's always the best news for me. If the receivers believe, you're in good shape. But I do think this last week, the Student Appreciation Day tomorrow and the spring game a week from tomorrow are big measuring sticks for Ryan Day to see where his quarterbacks are.
Yeah, I mean, everything that he said about the spring game was interesting, and it all sets up to be an extremely important day and kind of an important benchmark for where this quarterback race is, where this team is. I also learned that it just has to be called the spring game forever. Like, you can't mess with the phrasing of it, not only from what it means to the Central Ohio aspect of it, but from what am I buying aspect. That if fans are going to put money towards this, or if anybody's going to put money towards this, they've got to know what they're paying for, especially in an NIL world where we talked about Aaron Bradshaw and Michie Johnson. What am I paying for? Because you get the potential. Like, it's probably the same thing with Christoph Tilley and Gabe Cupps. What am I paying for? Well, here's the potential. Is it going to return me that investment? With a spring showcase, you have no idea what you're paying for, so you're less incentivized. A spring game, well, for my 34-plus years, I know what you're getting with that. And I think that's so much more important to the fans to have a spring game. And I think that's what's being lost by Nebraska, by USC, by Oklahoma State, by Texas. And I think that reflects also in the state of this program compared to states of some of those programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I learned that all of us Reds fans or baseball people that said the Reds needed to go out and get a big thumper for the middle of their order, we were all right. The Reds have been shut out 1-0, 3 games in a row. They had a huge night in their first game against Texas, scoring 14 runs. 28 innings since, they have not scored a run, and they have only been able to scratch out 9 hits. If Ellie and Matt McClain aren't going for this Reds offense, it is tough, and they really needed to go out and get a legitimate power-hitting outfield bat, and they just did not do it.
What is their how long do they have Ellie De La Cruz under team control?
I think it's for quite a while because there's certain, I think it's maybe 28 or 29. I'd have to look this up.
I think that I'm going to wade into these waters. I'm not diving in. So take this all with a little bit of a grain of salt. When you have someone like him, isn't now the time to strike? wouldn't now be the time to spend? Wouldn't now be the time to take full advantage of that? Even if you are aware that there is almost no likelihood that he's a Cincinnati Red for his career, that inevitably he will go the way of Ohtani and everybody else that's in a non-monster operation and eventually navigate to them. Now's the time, if you're them, to take full advantage of him in the middle of it.
So he is currently on a 1-year deal for $770,000. He's pre-arbitration eligible now and will become a free agent after the 2029 season. So they have him through control there. Here's the problem, though, Bo. You're seeing a lot of teams start to do this, try to lock up young talent. We've seen quite a few teams do that this week, like the Padres with Jackson Merrill and Christian Campbell, I believe, for the Red Sox this week. He's a Scott Boras client. So don't think you're going to get him. Yeah, so don't think you're going to get him on a discount like the Braves did a few years ago. They locked up Albies and Riley and Acuna. They locked them all up to long-term deals that were cheaper now than it would have been. I don't think you're going to get that with Ellie.
Oh, no. No. No, I think you're probably, I think about like Juan Soto and his path to finally get his money. That's kind of now's the time, Reds. The other thing I think was a big thing that we learned this week, and I think it was cathartic for Browns fans, but was the ownership of the Cleveland Browns saying, this was a mistake. It stops at us. And now we have to turn the page and kind of dig out of this thing. I think that was probably something. It was old school leadership out of Jimmy Haslam and ownership up there, but the buck stopped with them. I've gone over it a million times in terms of how it came about that they signed and traded for Deshaun Watson and the pound of flesh that they gave up to get him. But at the same time, now they can move past that. And I think it was something Browns fans kind of needed to hear, wanted to hear. Like, yeah, it's done. It was a mistake, and now we got to find our way out of it. And I thought that was cathartic for the Browns fans this week. And they are in a position now, as we inch closer to the draft, to find a way out. And the number 2 pick is going to be a very big part of them digging out of that hole. Speaking of the Browns and the number 2 pick, a very busy last night, and today for them, we will have that story for you, and how Mike Florio is taking, I think, and Florio used to be on with me and Rothman years ago, I think he's taken one statement just way out of context in regard to the Bengals. We'll get to those 2 stories coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic. Oh, yes. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Billy.
Hi, I'm Billy Hatcher, a former professional baseball player, and I'm a patient at Tri-State Men's Health. Before I started the treatment, it was like my body was sore all the time, and I was feeling very, very sluggish. One day, I would be full of energy. The next day was like, where did all my energy go? And since I've started, my body hasn't felt this good in a long time. I feel like, I'm not 21 to 25 again. It's just been great. I feel very, very comfortable coming here. When you have the energy, it's amazing. You get to do so many other things that you couldn't do prior to that. If you're tired of hurting in the mornings, you want to improve your health, you want to feel better, give a call to Tri-State Men's Health. I promise you, you will feel better.
Thanks, Billy. It's true. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Spring into a new vehicle at Crown Automotive Group of Dublin.
Luxury, power, and adventure, all waiting for you.
Explore our vast selection of exquisite Mercedes-Benz, the all-new rugged Ineos Grenadier, and the powerful lineup of Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram vehicles. Crown Automotive Group in Dublin is the only dealership in Columbus awarded a J.D. Power Dealer of Excellence for the customer sales experience. Visit Crown Automotive Group of Dublin on Perimeter Drive in Dublin.
Or online at crowncarsdublin.com.
Crown Automotive Group, the better way to buy.
The Fan has been ranked as the second best sports station in America by our industry peers. Our heartfelt thank you is in order. But we're not doing it because we're better than that hillbilly Birmingham station that came in first. Thanks for nothing.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move. A pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at more rain and storms returning this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-50s. Flooding will be another concern through this evening and into tonight as those rain showers continue. As we get into Saturday, more showers, more storms, high near 70. Some could be gusty, but rain remains our biggest concern. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. The friends are the guests and listeners. Reeser and Baker just work here.
Back to work. Back to work. Everybody. Work, 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 work.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Albert Breer on social with this. The Browns have owner Jimmy Haslam, head coach Kevin Stefanski, general manager Andrew Berry, assistant general managers Glenn Cook and Kat Hickman, executive vice president, co-owner J.W. Johnson, offensive coordinator Tommy Reese, quarterback coach Bill Musgrave at Colorado's Pro Day per sources today. So in other words, all of the people who will make the decision on a quarterback or what to do at number 2 are in Boulder. They are in Boulder because today is the Pro Day for Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and everybody at Colorado. Reporting last night that the Browns contingent took Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter to dinner last night as well. Albert Breer buttresses that reporting with reporting of his own on that fact from this morning. I don't think that's by accident that all of those people are there. I also think that right now, there's a lot of liar's poker out there. They probably had a similar contingent at Abdul Carter's Pro Day last week in Happy Valley. And so we're at the thorough part of the conversation here. I think the thing that will be interesting for Browns fans is at number 2, if it's not a quarterback, and if Tennessee goes Cam Ward, which it certainly feels like they are going to do, if Tennessee goes Cam Ward, what do you want it to? That really is the question. And if your answer is something other than quarterback/weapons, if you don't love Shedeur, I get fine. But you got to have weapons. If you just look at the teams that win in the postseason, they are teams that score the football. The average margin of the winning team in the postseason last year? Do you guys have a guess on what the average margin of a winning team in the playoffs were last year in the NFL? Average score for the winning team?
13?
No.
In playoff games alone?
Playoff games only last year. Average score of the winning teams in playoff games.
I'd say about 26.
Can I interest you in 31.5?
Oh, boy.
So if you don't score the ball, you don't have a chance. So when you come and say, well, we're going to win, defense wins championships, and we're going to win. No, it really doesn't. It doesn't win championships. In fact, last year in the AFC, 6 of the top 7 scoring offenses in the AFC made the playoffs. The only one who didn't was Cincinnati. That's it. NFC was the same way. It was 6 of the last 7. In fact, over 80%, you go back 5 years, over 80% of the teams that finish in the top 7, since we went to the 17 playoff model, over 80% of the teams that finish in the top 7 in offense in the given conferences make the playoffs. If you finish in the top 7 offensively, you make the playoffs over 80% of the time. Conversely, if you're in the top 7 in the defense, it's over 60%. Score the football. The Cleveland Browns, as currently constructed, could play. They could go in this NFL draft and not draft a single defensive player. And they could put a 2-deep and an 11-man defensive front out there right now to play defensive football. That would be fine. It'd be fine. Now, some of that would come down to JOK in terms of if it could be elite or not. But if you just look at their secondary, really the only position group that they need to amplify at some point, and it might not even be because you have Delpit and you have Rocket Hickman, so it could be safety. You might want to add some depth to that room if you want to. You probably want to add a little bit more here and there, but they are more than competent at defensive end. They are fine at defensive tackle. If JOK comes back, they're pretty dang good at linebacker. They're elite at corner. Like, their defense is good. Conversely, flip it. They need, guys, think about that. They need 2 quarterbacks still. They need at least 1 running back. I think they need 2 receivers. They need like another star receiver, and then they need another receiver, so that they have 4 competent NFL receivers. They need probably a left tackle or a swing tackle at some point, and you need probably a tight end. So this draft for them, just my opinion, should be weapons, 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 quarterback, weapons, weapons, more weapons. It's just that simple. So if they aren't totally sold on Shedeur Sanders at 2, okay, cool, fine. Then draft Travis Hunter and get yourself a weapon. Because if you're not scoring the football, the days of Trent Dilfer and winning 17-14 in the NFL, it's over. It's done. They need weapons. So I would, if you're from the Browns' perspective, if you walk out of this draft with Travis Hunter at 2, Travion Henderson at 33, Will Howard / quarterback somebody, Tyler Shuck somebody at 67, fine. Cool. You want to trade back into the first round if Shedeur falls? Fine. That's fine too. But number 2 has either got to be the quarterback of the future or it's got to be a monster weapon that people have to game plan against.
Yeah, I do Travis Hunter at 2. Been saying that since probably this time last year. If the Browns can get Hunter, get him. I don't think he's working out today in Colorado.
He's not.
But I think they're there just to see the quarterback. And it was funny as you were kind of like ripping off the needs for the Browns. I'm like, well, Buckeyes are available in those spots throughout the draft. So if things, to people's points that are always clamoring for the Browns to draft Buckeyes, positions of need, Buckeyes are likely available. It just really does depend on when you take them. And Travion, I think, would be a huge steal. I think he'd be perfect if they could get him at 33.
Back at 33.
Sure. There's Buckeyes you could talk me into as a Browns fan at almost every, maybe not G. Scott at 33, feels a little high, or Will Howard at 33, but everybody else I'd sit here like Donovan Jackson, okay.
They're not allergic to taking Buckeyes anymore, though. There was a time they were. I want to say it was one of the years where they either went 1-15 or 0-16. I did a whole bit, like just draft best available Buckeye, because they hadn't done it for a while since like Brian Robisky. But they've drafted a ton of them. I mean, they got Denzel Ward and Big Thanos is up there now, and Hickman's there. And I mean, they've had a lot of Buckeyes through. So I don't, Whippler's there. I think they think he could be someone on the offensive line down the road. I don't think that there was a time where it was like, God, why don't you just take best available Buckeye? I think they'll take him if they're there. But either way, it's weapons if you're them.
Bo, you mentioned a scenario that I'm seeing more and more with Shedeur, and a lot of people, and I don't believe it, that he's going to start sliding in the draft, because we've seen quarterbacks there's a run on quarterbacks all the time. So I don't believe he's going to slide, but you're seeing more and more people start to predict that he's going to slide. And I've seen 2 or 3 mock drafts now that have the Browns trading back up into the first round in the 20s. I know one was at 29. I think the other was 26, and them getting Shedeur. If they would do a scenario where they'll trade back up into the first round to get him, I don't understand why these people wouldn't think the Browns would just take him at 2.
Have your cake and eat it too, I guess, right? I'm with you. I agree with your statement. I did this exercise yesterday. I'll do it with you guys right now, because I think it's a pretty good illustration of what we perceive versus what reality is. All right, this is an NFL quarterback that's had a lengthy career. I'm going to give you the records and the accomplishments at the start of his career, and you tell me if these records or accomplishments would be worthy of being drafted number 2 overall. Okay? 9-7. These are the records first. 9-7, 10-6, 11-5, 10-5-1, 10-3, 6-9-1, 7-9. That's first 7 seasons in the league. 2-time division champion, 3-time Pro Bowler. Is that worthy? Mostly a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception, too. Is that worthy of pick number 2 in the draft?
I feel like for the exercise, no.
I mean, I think the Browns would take it.
You're damn right they take it. Of course they take it. It's 2 division champ. They haven't won a division since the 80s. It's multiple playoffs. It's 4 playoff appearances. It's 3 times as a Pro Bowler. That's Andy Dalton. And the Browns had their version of Andy Dalton in Baker Mayfield. And the feeling there was, we can win with him, but not enough. And what I keep telling Browns fans is, the position that they were in when they took the swing on Deshaun Watson, with that loaded roster, all of those guys in their prime, they're not in that position anymore. Now they're in the position of, man, it'd be nice to be competitive. It'd be nice to make the postseason. That's where they're at now. And so the reason I bring up Dalton is, and I think Shedeur actually has a higher ceiling than Andy Dalton, but I heard people saying, like, Shedeur Sanders, Andy Dalton. A lot of teams would take that record. A lot of teams would take 9-7, 10-6, 11-5, 10-5-1, 10-3. Are you winning a Super Bowl with that? No, you're not. But if you're relentlessly pursuing Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, you might pursue your whole life and never get that guy. So just because you don't think somebody's that doesn't mean they're not draftable, and doesn't mean they can't be a franchise quarterback.
You listed unicorns, and there's a reason that
but I think people chase them.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, that you mentioned that, and this Browns team isn't in the same boat they were a few years ago.
Yeah, when they made the Deshaun deal. Yeah.
And, you know, who knows if Baker would have worked here or not, whatever. But you had that, and you got rid of it, right? Because you wanted that unicorn. You wanted the unicorn because you didn't think you could win a Super Bowl with that guy, which maybe you couldn't, but we think we can with this guy. And it's funny, it's the cycle of it, right? And it's the frustration as a Browns fan that, hey, you're going to sell us this, but we had that, and that wasn't good enough for you, and now we got to go back to that.
The Baker thing had a million layers to it. A million. And I think everything that happened to him was necessary to get him to where he is in Tampa, just as a human. I mean, we found out later all sorts of stuff going on with his personal life. I mean, he had a lot going on at that time and needed a lot of maturing. And he did it, probably by being cut by the Browns and the Panthers and having the NFL say, actually, nobody wants you. You got to remember, he took a vet minimum deal with Tampa and had to compete with Kyle Trask for the job. So I think all of those things led to Baker being who he is. This will be it's a big time. Doesn't surprise me Travis Hunter's not doing anything. I don't think he's going past. There's no way he's going past pick 3. I see no scenario. So the tape's the tape on him. It's all out there. And he was one of those guys that was identified in high school as a dude. And guys like our next guest, Jeremy Birmingham, do that for a living. The Buckeyes got a couple of dudes this week. We'll go over what the bounty means and what type of player they've gotten already and what they're doing in recruiting as we speak. A big week of momentum. Berman, 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Look, there's feelings and then there's the facts. If you're feeling like your finance team is bogged down in mundane manual tasks, the fact is you need Ramp. Ramp is the corporate card that makes the expense process fast and easy. The moment your team makes a purchase, Ramp handles everything. Receipt collection and approvals, the works. With Ramp, you can cut your month-end close from 5 days to 1, customize approval workflows, and get complete control over every transaction. Facts. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and the Boys and Girls Club of America, which is why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. Facts. Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REDEEM to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
Nice little week for the Buckeyes on the recruiting side of things. When we talk recruiting, we do it with the best in the business. He's our good buddy, Jeremy Birmingham, dotting the I's on the Rivals Network, joining us. Buddy, thank you so much for taking the time. Before we get into some of these specific wins that the Buckeyes have had this week, we're a couple of years into this NIL world that we currently are occupying. Has it settled at all? What has anything changed about the way that this was a couple of years ago, the way that is now? Are people finding their way? Because it seems like Ohio State absolutely is.
Ohio State has always had a plan that they knew where they were going to move and how they were going to move. I think with the expectations that there's some sort of house settlement in the next week or so, that should really give some guardrails and some path to normalcy on the NIL front. I think you'll see some teams really, I don't want to say panicking, Bo, but they're trying to take full advantage of the last few breaths of lawlessness. But Ohio State, their path has been the same, which is, hey, guys are going to make a lot of money here, but we're still not recruiting kids who are most interested in NIL, period.
So Ryan's comments this week of like an open door, like this is us for better or worse. For better's winning out. And I think you can do that when you win a national championship, right? And you have what I call NFLU here, where they prepare better than anybody else. How many other programs in the country, Berm, can go that approach and win with it?
I mean, Georgia, they're one. Clemson's one, certainly. But I don't know that anyone else other than those three right now have the ability to do that. Even Michigan with a recent national championship, because of the worries that there's NCAA stuff hanging over their heads. I think they've gone a little bit more aggressive on the, we're just going to pay you to be here, and if you like it, great. If you don't, but the national championship helps. But it really, Bo, is a throwback to Woody Hayes. Like you still win with people, and Ohio State's people are great. I mean, it is an elite coaching staff full of young, aggressive recruiters, but they're not pushy. They're not guys who are high pressure salesmen. They're just saying, hey, this is Ohio State. And when you have people like Tim Walton and Brian Hartline and James Laurinaitis, who not only have had success in the NFL, but did it coming through Ohio State, like, it becomes easy to sell it. It becomes easy to say to people, this is your path, and I can tell you that because it was my path. And kids, that resonates with kids, and you're starting to see the results on the recruiting trail for Ohio State as spring football has opened the doors back for visitors, and it's been 3 weeks, and they've been really on fire on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, they have. All right, let's get into some of these specifics this week. The two safeties early. Buddy, I don't do this like you every day, but my ears perk up when I hear 5-star Baton Rouge, Ohio State. Like, that jumps out.
It's unusual. I mean, if we look back and if we go back 35, 40 years, you can find two, I guess ostensibly we could count Jair Brown from Louisiana, even though he was in Cincinnati for most of his youth. But other than that, it's Jonathan Wells and Nader Abdallah at Ohio State out of Louisiana in the last 30, 40 years. So it's rare, especially considering Blaine Bradford, the 5-star safety from Baton Rouge Catholic. His brother plays for LSU. He lives down the street from LSU. He spent tons of time there, but that's when you really can't underestimate the importance of players like Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith and what they mean to other recruits, because these are the biggest names in football. And when Blaine Bradford, who's almost a slightly bigger version of Caleb Downs, is able to get on campus and see, hey, I can do all this stuff. And Caleb is a kid from Atlanta, Georgia, and he can go up to Columbus and do this. Why can't I? And we don't need to pretend anymore that you have to make that trek from Louisiana by cart, horse and buggy. Like it's a 2-hour flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's pretty close to home, and college football is a national thing. Just like we've seen guys like Trey McNutt or Dorian Brew leave Ohio to go elsewhere. Like you're going to see Ohio State went into Alabama last year and signed 2 of the top 3 players and had the top 3 players committed for like the entire cycle. So the nature of the game has changed, and the ability for kids to see different places and realize that, hey, Ohio State is actually a really elite program, and to be able to walk away from the SEC shadow of this is the only place you can play good football. And then you add in Oregon and USC and what's going on in the Big Ten, like, it becomes really enticing. And Ohio State used to be the SEC program in the North, right? But now you have Oregon, you have USC. It is a different world. It's a national brand, and the country's small when you really look at it from that perspective.
It's never been smaller. I mean, in the old days, no FaceTime, like all of the stuff that you can do. I mean, kids would truly get homesick. You and I have been in this for a long time, buddy. Like, kids would truly get homesick and not be able to see their folks. That's all easy now. It's all so much easier than it used to be.
Ohio State can just pay for their parents to come visit them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not anywhere near the same. And the bottom line is that recruiting is still about relationships, but you are now able to. Ohio State's been able to win the relationship. We've seen guys like, let's go back to Rashard Lawrence or players like that down in Louisiana for the last couple of years who Ohio State was really in on, and they thought, hey, we won the relationship side of this. But then there was always SEC ways to keep people home, and now those ways are mitigated. So it's really opened the door for everyone.
Yeah, it really has. And this week, I think for the folks out there, kind of a good example of what Ohio State now is in recruiting. It starts with the 5-star safety. They added another big-time top 100 guy middle of the week. And then today, linebacker from here in town, following in the footsteps of Joshua Perry, going from Olentangy to Ohio State. So this week kind of sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. But it shows sort of the 3-pronged approach you have to take. There is the expectation, or at least the belief, that the Blaine Bradford thing is like, oh, Ohio State bought a safety. Whatever. If they did, it's fine. But that's not it. But sure. But then you have a recruitment like Simeon Caldwell in Florida, whose uncle, at least once or twice removed, is Tim Walton. So you've got like this unique attachment there. Ohio State's recruited him for 2 years, and he's camped at Ohio State multiple times, and he's come up from Florida multiple times. And so you have that like long-term relationship that you built with an out-of-state star. You have the superstar in Blaine Bradford that you have to just do whatever you have to do to make sure he's on your team. And then you have the local kid who is sort of flown under the radar, but Ohio State was like, hey, man, this kid's 6'3" and 230 pounds and runs a 4.55. Why would we not recruit him? And, you have to build your program with all three of those levels. It is not something where you can just anymore. You can't have 25 first-round picks because you can't pay for them. So you've got to figure out a way to balance it, and nobody's better at that than Mark Pantoni and his staff.
No, they're the best. I wanted to ask you about, obviously we have a quarterback derby happening. Your view of Julian as a prospect when Ohio State was in on him, Lincoln as a prospect, and Ohio State inevitably signed him, and then Tavian St. Clair at a Bell Fountain. What about those three guys as you've known them since they were young? What do fans who maybe aren't as familiar? What are those three guys all about?
They're all competitive as hell. That's something, but they all get there in very different ways. When you talk about Julian, he's from California, from Carlsbad. He's a guy that was a national recruit his whole life. He's a polished passer who he's a guy that spends the summer on the beach throwing the football, like a typical California kid. Mm-hmm. And he's as polished as a high school quarterback could be coming out of high school. But that polish is somewhat irrelevant when you get to college and everyone's 6'7", and you're 6'1.5", 6'2", and it changes the game a little bit. So he's learning how to navigate that. Lincoln, I don't know if Lincoln ever really knew he was going to be a college football player, but he just loves to compete at sports, and he's maybe the best athlete on the entire Ohio State roster who can do anything. But he's also played quarterback exclusively for just about 16 months now. So he's a little bit behind in that respect, but the upside and the athletic traits are so off the charts that he can catch up quickly. Mm-hmm. And then there's Tavian, who, like, if you built a quarterback in a lab, it's what he looks like. He's 6'4", he's 230 pounds. He can run, he can throw, he can do it. But he played at Bell Fountain High School, and so you don't know exactly how to prepare for that jump in competition to Ohio State when you haven't been pushed to that level every day as a high school player, like Julian is in California, or even like Lincoln being a 3-sport all-state player in basketball, baseball, and football was, where he's seeing it from all these different angles. For Tavian, it's about letting yourself be patient with yourself and saying, hey, I'm going to get there because I am that guy, but I don't need to be that guy right now. So I think it's an interesting room because none of them have played, and they all have very different opportunities to make hay. And I think that the battle between Lincoln Kienholz and Julian Sain is going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be resolved this month or next weekend, but coming into August, like, it's going to be a hell of a good time to watch.
You hit on something there, and I hope the audience picked up on it too, buddy. Completely different backgrounds to get here. I mean, just couldn't be more different, those three paths, and yet they're all in the same room. It's a fascinating stuff and information and perspective that only you have, my friend. We thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure having you on. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thanks so much, bro. See you.
All right, there he goes. Jeremy Birmingham dotting the I's on the Rivals Network. Get you three things on a Friday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Rewards members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
This Ohio State football spring practice report is brought to you locally on The Fan by Roosters and by your Ohio Kubota dealers.
Ohio State football spring practice report.
Brian Hartline, receivers coach in a new role as offensive coordinator. He talks about putting his mind together with what Coach Day wants.
You're always kind of looking around the corner for what could happen. You always got to operate. You're operating in the now, but you have to have perspective of the wear and tear of these guys' bodies. I think that's probably why Coach Day's best head coach in America. I mean, be able to have perspective on the now, but then also what's coming around the corner and what could happen and having a good plan for it. So, frankly, how well he managed it and how he did it is probably more for him. We felt really good. I mean, with the ability to early on identify, hey, it's going to be a longer season. We need to get guys other carries. Hey, we need to get, other guys' reps, whether it be in the O-line or receiver room or running backs especially, we had that perspective. He had that perspective, and came to fruition.
This report brought to you by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and by Weber Grills on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Imagine a tailgate. The heat of the flame, the sizzle of the burger, the squeeze of the ketchup. Grilling is essential to tailgating as the game itself. Weber Grills are there in the hours, minutes, and even seconds before kickoff. Before the best damn band in the land plays the battle cry, signaling it's time to take the field. Weber is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. This season, Weber created an officially licensed limited edition Ohio State grill inspired by the iconic Buckeye helmets. Find the best damn grill in the land at local Ohio retailers.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Cover more ground with the fast, durable Kubota Sidekick, featuring a gas-powered engine that delivers a top speed of 40 miles per hour, best-in-class acceleration and handling with cargo, and the strength to haul what needs hauling. All backed by a 2-year, 1,000-hour warranty. Get more done right with the Kubota Sidekick. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at MasheterFord.net. Thanks.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Good Lord. The NFL draft can't get here quick enough. An hour or so ago, reporting Albert Breer, among others, the Colorado's Pro Day is today. Last night, the Browns went to dinner with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. There was reporting about an hour ago that Travis Hunter was not expected to work out at his pro day, and everybody went, oh, the Browns told him not to work out. By the way, that doesn't even make any sense. They picked second. So they don't need to fool anybody in regard to Travis Hunter. If they want to draft Travis Hunter, he can work out all he wants. They can draft him at 2. It's either going to be Abdul Carter, I think it's going to be Cam Ward at 1, and then they can do whatever they want to do. And now... in fact, James Palmer, NFL Network, we'll see if something changes before the start of today's showcase in Boulder, but Travis Hunter not expected to work out today at CU. And then 49 minutes later, Travis Hunter has decided to run routes today per source, so we will see Hunter on the field in Boulder. Should be fun. You know why he's running routes? Because his best buddy and the reason he's a Colorado Buffalo is the quarterback. And he signed up for all of it. This was a 5-star can't-miss kid who was committed to Florida State, who went to Jackson. Went to Jackson State, 1AA football, 5-star, to play for Deion Sanders and with Shedeur. So he's running routes Because the guy he's been with for 3 years, his entire career, who netted him a Heisman and he helped them rejuvenate a program and all of it, is having his biggest day maybe ever today. And that's why he's running routes. That's my words. I think it's just deductive reasoning. Pretty simple, but I'd say that's what that's about.
Also, would anything Travis Hunter does or does not do today change anybody's mind about him?
I wouldn't think. No. I think he's known. All right, Reese, what do you have on the poll today?
So the Daily Fan Poll is sponsored by Caster Connection, and it asks, how many points will the Blue Jackets accumulate during their weekend Canadian road trip through Toronto and Ottawa? 0 to 1, 2, 3, and 4 are your options. 40% of you think they're going to get 0 or 1 point. 35% say they're going to get 2 points. 13% say 3 points. 10% say all 4 points.
What's minimum?
It better be all 4. You need all 4.
Minimum's 2. You have to get 2.
I saw this tweet, Bo, during the show, because we talked about this a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think it said if you assume that the Canadians, who have a soft schedule here, the rest of the way go 3 and 4 in their last 7, the Jackets need to go like 6-1-1. So it's going to be really tough. You can't afford to be leaving any more points. You need them all.
Yep. All right, and we did one too. We had what was ours?
Yeah, it was, do you think Ohio State should put Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith in black jerseys, the non-contact ones, for Ohio State's spring game next Saturday? This was at 971 BFS.
Yeah.
We got a little over 100 votes. 83% of you say yes.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm like Travis Hunter at Pro Day. I'm good. Don't need to see anything. All right, time for 3 things on a Friday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
So oftentimes I'm made fun of for the fact that I still have cable. Here's an example of why it's still awesome, despite the absurd fee that I pay the great folks at Spectrum. Last night, as the Blue Jackets game was starting to get out of hand, and as it went to the second intermission, I was looking something to tide me over until the start of the third period. And what did I find? Hans, Booby, I'm your white knight. Come on. Flipping is undefeated. Die Hard to a Blue Jackets game? I watched it all the way. The FBI guys coming in, the whole bit. Like, it's undefeated. There's no better experience than that. I don't know what y'all are doing with this stream, all these apps. This is a get off my lawn that I'm going to get right in the long run. Flipping is great.
I did love last night that on my hypothetical device, I could press up 1 to go to the Reds game, down 1 back to the Jackets. That was nice.
It's nice to flip, baby.
And Ellis, what are you thinking?
Ellis,
you
really
moron.
Ellis, I use a fountain. You use a gun. I use a fountain pen. What's the difference? Ellis, you don't know who you're dealing with. So great.
Rest in peace, Ellis. Guardians are trying to put their 3-game losing streak in the ground tonight. They've got a series in Anaheim taking on the Angels. That's not the important thing. They'll be back at Progressive Field for the home opener next Tuesday, taking on the Chicago White Sox. It's a 4:10 first pitch. And, Bo, you talk about things being undefeated. I think having a representative of the 2024 National Championship game at your event, also undefeated. Jack Sawyer's throwing out the first pitch there.
That's
in
awesome.
Cleveland.
Good for him. That's really cool. Hopefully the weather takes care of him that day.
If there's one thing, Bo, that my high school does right outside of a football Friday night, it's alumni tournaments. We have the world's largest softball alumni tournament. You can't prove that that's wrong. We have a huge golf alumni tournament. We used to have a basketball alumni tournament. I think we had an indoor golf alumni tournament this year. And tomorrow is the annual alumni dart tournament. And it just so happens that my best friend and I's schedules have synced up. I'm going to dust the old dart case off, and we're going to go throw tomorrow. It's probably going to be a 2-and-Q, but we were 2-time champions back in the day.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I feel like you're good at bar games. Are you good at pool, too?
I am not, but I love watching billiards because I'm not very good at pool.
Okay, all right. I felt like darts, pool, foosball, all that stuff. I feel like you'd thrive.
I love a good foosball.
Yeah, I knew it. Number 2 for me, I led the story, the show with the story of Buddy Garrity and his accidental thief of the life of a bunny. He's acting very sheepish. All morning, it's been pretty sheepish, so I don't know. Maybe he does know what he did. To this point, my wife does not, and we'll keep it that way.
I'm looking at snow in the forecast for Cleveland next Monday and Tuesday. High temperatures look to be in the low 40s, but you're getting near freezing for both days. Sunday's going to be chilly as well, so hopefully that changes in the next couple of days. Again, Jack Sora throwing out that first pitch on Tuesday. But in the YouTube chat, Ace had asked me if I would rather have my choice of superpower for the rest of my life or have the Cavs, Guardians, and Browns all win a respective championship in the same year.
Superpower, right?
I think I'm going to go superpower because I don't know what my body couldn't take all 3 winning that in the same year. Like you go from June Cavs. Yeah. Well, I guess if you wanted to, June Cavs and then October Guardians, and then I'm already gone before football season. Yeah. Like liver, brain, the whole thing's gone before the Browns even take a snap.
My second thing, don't forget the fan call-in show Sunday morning, 11 to noon. Scotty Vegas and I want to hear your hot sports takes.
There you go. Number 3 for me. So I was looking at my next couple of nights, lining it out. So anniversary dinner tonight, so that'll be lovely. Saturday, you've got the Final Four. Sunday, Lotus is 90 minutes. The White Lotus finale is 90 minutes. And the 1923 finale is 2 hours.
Nope.
I'm going to bet you anything on the 1923 part of it. I would bet anything that 2 hours is all you needed. The rest of it's nonsense.
This just came down a couple of minutes ago from the NBA. They fined Ja Morant $75,000 for finger gun gestures.
He's such a...
I don't think it's at any point anybody else's fault but Ja's. Whatever happens to and he's just arrogant in the face of all of this.
Yeah.
Poor Zed Key. That's his move, daggone.
By the way, remember how big of a deal Ja Morant, Zion Williamson is?
Yep.
What has it netted those two teams, truly?
Headaches.
Man.
Final thing for me, Rothman and Ice coming up next. Do not go anywhere. They'll talk some football with the General, Bob Carpenter, and a little baseball with Jensen Lewis.
There you go, kids. Enjoy your weekend. We're back on Monday. Our great friends Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
We're catching up with that famous deep-sea explorer, Jacques Black Jacques. Jacques, where are you today?
How?
You're in Columbus. What could you possibly be exploring in Columbus?
The April showers bring flooding to Batmans.
Oh, I see. Spring rains mean basements are flooding.
This not necessary. Apex Pros.
Not necessary. Call Apex Pros.
A simple zoom pump chick.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding this. Zoom pump check. Sump pump check. Are you saying sump pump check? Yes, of course. Sump pump check from the pros who knows at Apex Pros.
They come to your house.
They come to your house.
They test your zoom pump.
They test your, what is it again?
Zoom pump.
Some pump, right.
All with a 5-star guarantee.
All with a 5-star guarantee. Now, see, I understood that perfectly.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.50%, APR 6.56% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code REDEEM to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code REDEEM for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not